Welcome back to the best division in football with your boys Awthentik and The Beard, the best television show not on TV. Happy Valentine's Day to all the football lovers out there, man. The 2022 NFL season has came to an end, and the Kansas City Chiefs are the NFL champions this year. We had a team represent the best division in football. Shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles and all the Philadelphia Eagles fans that have tuned in to Awthentik and The Beard this season, man. Tough loss for you guys in that game. And, I don't think we could have asked for too much more, man. The two best teams in the NFL faced off, and we got a great game. It came down to the wire. I would say, as a New York Giants fan, the only thing that I could ask for would be that my New York Giants be in the Super Bowl sooner than later. We'll see how things go. But without further ado, man, let me bring in the best co-host in the country, man, the strong side to my left side, my brother from another, and your brother. Shout out to the gang one time. What's going on, The Beard? How you living, brother?
Doing pretty good, man. Considering football season has finally come to an end here. Obviously, we got a couple of weeks until free agency and the draft and things like that. So
29 days until you got to take care of business as far as free agents, franchise tags, things like that.
Yeah. Oh man, I thought you were gonna say 29 days until I had to run the 40-yard dash.
It's close.
I'm not ready, man.
You better start getting ready, man.
But big shout out to some of these other football leagues. I love football, so I will check out some of this stuff. Awthentik and I, before COVID hit, we were fortunate enough to be able to go to a DC Defenders game, and it was a ton of fun, man. So
yeah,
I'm kind of glad to see that back in the mix. So I'm gonna be checking out some of that stuff, and then next thing you know, it'll be time for some of these big moves to start happening. Obviously, Derek Carr already been cut loose, and then Washington's still trying to find out who there's going to be their offensive coordinator. We're still waiting for the team to be sold. So there's a lot of stuff.
We saw
on
the Eagles
side.
coordinator get picked up. We saw the defensive coordinator get picked up today too.
Both of their coordinators gone. So all head coaching vacancies have been filled now. So that's kind of interesting. So, but as far as the Super Bowl goes, man, I was entertained. I was highly entertained from the very beginning.
Great game.
I was very excited about the way things played out. Now that things have kind of settled, it's a little bit easier to kind of just digest the game as a whole. At first I was kind of like everybody else. I was a little selfish in the way that the game ended, but
you get to really telling who somebody rooting for when a call go one way or a play go one way. I started to realize this like midway through the game. Like when Patrick Mahomes broke that run in the fourth quarter, I'm like up on my feet. When Kadarius Toney's returning the kick, I'm up on my feet. So I was definitely rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs in this one subliminally, and kind of just hoping they could take down the Eagles. Now I didn't know I was that much invested in the Chiefs until the game actually started.
And there were some good hits in the game too.
Right off the bat, man, Devonta Smith twice on that first drive. I mean, he was getting banged up, man. And he's a smaller frame guy. I know he called to come off the field a couple times, but it was good to see him, be able to finish out the game too.
Yeah, so there was exciting plays.
Oh, and the Pachenko hit.
That was the one. That was the one. I mean, when you're in a room full of people and there's a hit, and you know it when it's just, and it's like all different types of people, like my wife and my cousins and all the girls, and everybody's kind of like, oh,
yeah, you ain't got to know too much about football to know that that's a major hit.
And it was pretty cool too because so our neighbors came over. They've been super awesome since the day we moved in here, and we finally got a chance to have them over. So their little daughter came over, and the grandmother is super invested in the football. It was so awesome.
That's what's up.
She was just rolling the whole game. I'm like, this is great. So we had good food, good people, good game. Can't really ask for much more. Obviously, the commercials have been pretty much a letdown for me for a long time. Yeah. Right. So it's not like how it was back in the day. Okay. And I'm going to be honest with you, there's a lot of commercials I probably just wasn't really invested in and missed because I was more invested in food at commercial time.
Yeah.
I got up and I ate a lot of food, man. A lot of food. I had pupusas. I had chicken wings. I had buffalo chicken dip. I had potatoes. I had pasta salad. I had artichoke dip. I mean, man, I had about 16 plates of food in this game. So I was loving that. But I will say this, the best commercial that I can remember that I saw and that had everybody reacting was the Tubi commercial.
Oh yeah, the one that made you feel like you hit the button on your remote.
Everybody in the room started going crazy, yelling at me. I'm like sitting here with a plate of food. Like the remote control's right there on the table. I don't know what y'all are talking.
I like the Diddy commercial too, where like he's in the studio and they're like pretty much replaying, like reenacting hits that had happened before in time that were kind of like ridiculous hits in a way. And Diddy turning them down, even though these songs became great hits. I thought that was a good one too. But they do seem to not be as invested in the commercials in the Super Bowl like how it was when we were younger. They still
paying a ton of money for them.
Yeah, and I streamed the Super Bowl, even though I had it upstairs. I was in the studio and I was just streaming it down here. And I saw like a law firm commercial for like the most jankiest law firm. I'm just like, where are they getting this budget to pay for a Super Bowl commercial? It's kind of interesting, but
they must have had a good client that last month or something. But and then I thought I'm not a big country music guy, but I thought Chris Stapleton did a really great job with the national anthem.
Oh yeah, he killed it.
Great voice. I thought that was really well. The Rihanna coming out pregnant.
Yeah, the stage part was dope.
The special guest, that was pretty. I mean, the internet was going crazy. Every female in my house was going bananas. They were like, wait.
Oh, I knew she was pregnant right off the bat. I didn't put it together that she had already had the other baby at first. I was like, oh, came out here to do this. It's a 20-month pregnancy she's going through here or something like that. But nonetheless, a fairly good performance. I love the theatrics. And, being that she couldn't move around too much, I thought she did a really good job. Sounded good. You didn't really see too many hiccups camera-wise or audio-wise. So I dug it. It was cool. And I love the staging, the way she came down.
It was crazy.
Yeah, that was dope.
I cannot listen, I'm not the best when it comes to heights. It's not that I'm afraid of heights. It's just that, like, when I get up there, I'm kind of just like, man, if something goes wrong, it's not going to be good for the beard.
For me, it would be the moment of being in the center of all those people. Yeah. You might, at least I'd be afraid to, like, lose perspective, take the wrong step, maybe lean a little bit the wrong way. You
kind of just got to stay still.
Yeah, you got to stay super. Man, can you imagine if, like, the balance of that thing is just a little bit unleveled, bro? I was just, like, hoping nothing went wrong when I saw those, the stages coming down on the ropes and whatnot.
Yeah, but it was everything put together, from the beginning to the commercials to, the game and then the ending and just it all kind of came together. And I think it was a successful Super Bowl, a great Super Bowl.
Yeah.
A way to end a season that had so much wrapped up in it from the preseason all the way until now. It's just when a game kind of ends, you kind of just sit back a little bit and you're just like, man, what a year. What a year. And what a year to spend, not just with my brother right here, Authentic, but with each and every one of you guys here in the chat and girls. Like it's been a fantastic season 4 of Authentic and the Beard. I couldn't be more thankful for every step of the way. I mean, we had winning streaks for the Giants. We had losing streaks for the Giants, winning streaks for the Commanders, losing streaks for the Commanders, the Eagles coming out, the Dak Prescott, Cooper Rush.
NFC East going all the way down to the wire to the last week where Dallas had a chance to take the #1 spot in the NFC. I mean, this was a really good year. And I know Washington was kind of on the bottom end of that towards the end, but throughout most of the year, all the teams were right there in the mix. A surprising year for the NFC East, man, and it was a good one, to have our teams all have at least a 500 record or above, which you did call that at the beginning of the year, and to see one of the teams actually go from our division to go to the Super Bowl. So this is like the first successful year of Authentic and the Beard as far as our teams and, just like the way the division performed and whatnot. So, I mean, I'm ecstatic, and everybody who held us down and all the new folks that came along that journey it's been it kind of flew by. And to me, it really don't feel like it's over quite yet. It's weird. Like, I think this transition into the offseason and into getting ready for the draft is going to be an extension of the 2022 season in a way. So we'll see how things go.
Yeah, it's just it's been a wild season. And a lot of people, new stars coming up, old stars leaving, Tom Brady retiring finally, we think. That whole sort of situation. It's just the changing of the game. It's just been really fun to watch, and I'm excited to talk about the game. I did want to give a big shout out to each and every one of you who is watching us right now on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and of course right here, home of Authentic and the Beard on the YouTubes. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, tell a friend and tell a friend. We appreciate all the love and all the support. We're going to go ahead and give some shout outs to everybody in the chat, and then we're going to talk Super Bowl. We're going to talk some Super Bowl.
Let's get to it.
Big shout out to JMO. Coach Taylor is in the building. Good to see you, bud. Hope all is well. Our guy, Beige Boy, hail to the Commanders. Hopefully we'll be announcing some sort of Eric Bieniemy signing sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I would definitely be happy for y'all if y'all make that move.
We're going to wait and see. I don't want to get my hopes up because I know how things usually happen here in Washington. Big shout out to Gregory, one of the resident Cowboy fans here at Awthentik and The Beard. We appreciate you stopping by and spending some time with us. Big shout out to Chiefs Kingdom. Congratulations on your Super Bowl victory. Wants to know where the Eagles fans are.
We might have one in here today. We'll see how things go. We'll see how things go. Big shout out to them Chiefs, though, man.
Patrick Mahomes is definitely that dude. I mean, we knew it beforehand, but I think this is just another notch in the belt of Patrick Mahomes. Yep. I don't know how many of you guys used to do this, but back in the day, every once in a while you used to have to take a steak knife, right? And put it on your belt and kind of make a new hole. I mean, I have done that. I'm pretty sure, I don't want to speak for Awthentik, but I've had to do that
come
before.
on, bro. I'm like 6'1", buck 60, 65. I done did that. I definitely done did that.
So, Patrick Mahomes just took a steak knife and made himself a new hole in the belt this weekend. So, big shout out to Chiefs Kingdom. We appreciate you stopping by. Shout out to Crypto Moves in the building.
Salute.
Always appreciate you stopping by. Tough loss, but I'm looking forward to the Giants getting DJ signed and on to a great draft.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, one time in the building.
Let's go.
I almost forgot it, but I got it just in time. Big shout out to Crypto. We appreciate you. Marquise is in the building. Says Jalen Hurts with the running back pick 6 cost his team 6 points, and they lost by 3. We're going to talk a lot about that today. We're going to get to that, but we appreciate you stopping by for sure. Big shout out to Zach in the building. Happy Free Candy Day without the goals, everyone. Yeah, I haven't had any chocolate today. I've been in the house working all day, man. All day working. It's been one of those days. Big shout out to our guy, Chris Parkin Lot Peace is in the building. Says, my guys, the NFL season has come to an end. Might check out the XFL and USFL. I think it's a good thing. I definitely think it's worth it. There will be a few. It won't be a lot, but there will be 1 to maybe 5 guys that you see playing in the XFL and the USFL that you'll see transition to the NFL. I want to say that the special teams guy from the Dallas Cowboys, really good, talented Turpin, was playing
Turpin.
Yeah, he was playing in the USFL, I believe, last season before he came over
Electric player, man. I like Avante Turpin.
Yeah, so you'll definitely see some guys like that. Big shout out to our guy, Day One, Lucas, checking in from Australia. We appreciate you, as always, Lucas, for joining us. Thank you so much, man. Great to see you. Hope all is well. So this is a little bit of an interesting situation going around the internet as well.
Yeah, he was.
It was quite the interesting scene. Obviously,
I think that showed a lot of just leadership from Jalen Hurts. It's like you over here like making hand gestures to the other team and telling them to come back. It's a very immature moment for Nick Sirianni for sure, and an obnoxious moment for Nick Sirianni. And you just see Jalen Hurts kind of smile, but look at him like, bro, you got us looking crazy out here, bro.
Yeah. Big shout out to Zach and his family, sending our love and thoughts to you and yours. Great grandmother passed away today. She was 95 years young. She had a long, happy life. So definitely sending love your way.
Carry that legacy, Zach. Yep. Carry that legacy, brother. Our prayers are with you and your family right now, my guy.
Absolutely. Big shout out to Kai 001, secret agent, Cowboys fan in the building. Hope you're doing well, brother. Always a pleasure to see you.
The Eagle has landed.
The Eagle has landed, yeah. It's not flying anymore. Host of Horror is in the building.
What up?
Great to see you, my guy. Big shout out to Sebastian in the mix as well. Appreciate you stopping by. Our very own sideline beat reporter for Awthentik and The Beard, Marjorie, is in the building, dropping Marge bombs.
What's up, Marjorie?
Appreciate you as well. Jay Jean says, happy somewhat victory week. Let me tell you,
Jay Jean?
I'm sure you all know by now, there's a lot of Giants fans on my timeline. Man,
people giving you a lot of flack for your choices this past week.
Well, not even just that, but just the amount of stuff that I saw on my timeline from the Giants.
It's been a ton. They acting like we won a Super Bowl. It's been kind of crazy.
It's been pretty crazy.
It's been kind of crazy.
Big shout out to another one of our day ones, Bluegrass Picker. He is a Chiefs fan, celebrating yet another Chiefs Super Bowl. I want to say that. So wait, it was the Chiefs won the Super Bowl in our first season, right? Was our first season or second season of Awthentik and The Beard?
First season. Yep, first season.
So big shout out to Bluegrass Picker. He's been with us now for 2 Chiefs Super Bowls, man.
Yeah.
So it's pretty wild, man. It must be a great feeling. I know Awthentik knows the feeling of 2 Super Bowls in a stretch of a few years. I know nothing of the sort. Hopefully, the
Chiefs, it's almost like the football gods are paying them back, because I think the Chiefs won the first Super Bowl after the merger, and then they went that long streak without winning one, and now you got Patrick Mahomes has now been to 3 out of the last 4 Super Bowls, I believe it is.
Yeah, 2. He's been to 4. I think it's 3 out of the last 4. 1, 2 Super Bowl MVPs.
Been to 3. Been to 3.
Been to 3?
Yeah, been to 3.
Okay, 3 Super Bowls now. And to win 2 and have 2 Super Bowl MVPs all before the age of 30, it's pretty amazing, to say the least. So big shout out to Patrick Mahomes. Big shout out to the Chiefs. And most importantly, big shout out to each and every one of you in the chat, watching us across all the different platforms, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and of course right here, home of Awthentik and The Beard on the YouTubes. Let's talk some Super Bowl, my friend. Let's do it,
man. I'm with it. All right, man. This one was a really, really, really good game. I got a ton of notes. I was telling the Beard about this. This is going to be a very long-winded section before we get to the over-unders, which I feel like I didn't do too well on those over-unders. Well, we going to he said, no, we did it. So, I wanted to talk about the last meeting between these two teams. The Chiefs did defeat the Eagles 42-30 in 2021. And in that game, those were 2 of the best games from these 2 quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes, 5 touchdowns in that game. Jalen Hurts had a career-high 387 yards in that game. And to see them come out in this game and put on pretty much a repeat performance from the quarterback position was an amazing thing. Now, going into this game, Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes were both in the top 3 in quarterback rating. They were also in the top 3 in touchdown to interception ratio and yards per attempt. So you were looking at 2 of the better quarterbacks throughout the whole entire year. The first time we had 2 African-American quarterbacks face off in the Super Bowl. And to put the cherry on top of that, they were the 2 youngest quarterbacks to go at it. Now, Patrick Mahomes was 27 years old and Jalen Hurts being only 24 years old. Now, this was just the 6th time since the merger that 2 teams with the best records in the regular season faced off in the Super Bowl. It's been a while since we got a matchup like this, where literally you had the best team from each conference representing their side of the coin and bringing their A game. This was not a blowout. This was not a game where like one team was out of it. I remember talking with the homies in our group thread, and a lot of them were when the Eagles went up by 7 and they were pushing to try to make it a 2-score game. They're like, man, this game might get out of hand quickly. I was like, man, pump the brakes. We got Patrick Mahomes on the other side. And you also got Andy Reid over there. Andy Reid, man, I really think that he was probably, outside of Patrick Mahomes, the number 1 reason why the Chiefs end up coming away with this victory in this game. The over-under was 51. They definitely got there. The Eagles were favored by 1.5. The Chiefs, definitely stomped them out in those vibes. But this is 2 Super Bowls and 4 appearances for Andy Reid. Andy Reid became the first coach to defeat a team in the Super Bowl that he had previously coached in the big game before that. And he's still undefeated against the Eagles as the coach for the Chiefs. He was also undefeated against the Chiefs when he was the coach for the Eagles. So Andy Reid, super clean slate here. I want to recap the game just a little bit. Now, right off the bat, the Eagles come out, and I'm like, wow, this offense is on fire. They come out with that super impressive first drive, 7 plays, 75 yards. It ends with a quarterback sneak, which that was the theme of the Philadelphia Eagles offense, if you ask me, was the quarterback sneak. They showed you that it was pretty much an unstoppable play on all aspects of this game for them from their offense. Hurts was 4-5 on that first drive for 54 yards. 41 of those yards went to Devonta Smith. And Smith converted that 3rd and 5 that extended the drive and kept the drive alive for them to be able to get in the end zone. So I got a little bit worried. The Chiefs deferred when they won the coin toss. We're going to talk about that in the over-unders a little bit as well. And, I see the Eagles drive down the field, and I'm like, man, are the Chiefs going to be able to keep up? Like, if Patrick Mahomes and his ankle not looking good, what's going to happen here? Chiefs come right out. They answer. Travis Kelce had 2 catches on that drive. He ended the drive with a touchdown, quickly made it 7-7. And then A.J. Brown comes right back on the first play of the second quarter with what I could like to call a mutant-like touchdown because he did not look human on that play. Shout out to J.T. O'Sullivan from the quarterback school who broke that down perfectly. I posted it on my Twitter.
Yeah.
The little hitch that A.J. Brown put at the top of that route, it literally confused the defensive back and made him think he was going to try to go underneath the route, so the defensive back kind of slowed up. Also, a great ball by Jalen Hurts. A lot of people were trying to be critical of that throw during the game. I challenge you to go look at the 22-man cam. I mean, just an amazing, amazing throw by Jalen Hurts there. Only where his guy could get it. And then, this is when things got really interesting, I felt like, for the Philadelphia Eagles. They're looking to push it to a 2-score lead here. They're up 14-7. It's 3rd and 1, and things get dicey before the fumble because you get the false start penalty. Yeah. I forget who that was on. I think that was on the guard for the Philadelphia Eagles. And on 3rd and 6, Jalen Hurts is on a pretty much look like a broken play. I don't even know what the play call was, and we're going to talk about this. Nick Sirianni was definitely questionable in a few moments in this game, and also the offensive coordinator, Shane Steichen, I believe his name is. Very questionable calls in this game, but Nick Bolton scooped that up, went 36 yards to tie the game 14-14. It reminded me a lot of the mistake that Patrick Mahomes made against the Bengals that really allowed them to linger around in the game. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles were looking to push this to a 2-score lead early. And we all know, I've talked about this on numerous occasions this year on the podcast, the second quarter is where the Eagles like to put teams away. They've been doing that all year long. They did that to the San Francisco 49ers in the championship game. They did that to the New York Giants in the divisional round, and there's been plenty of games this year. You look at the Minnesota Vikings game, damn near against the Detroit Lions, where they just put teams away in the second quarter, the first matchup with the New York Giants. Now, Jalen Hurts fumbles the ball. I thought that could be his only mistake of the game, and it seemed like it was. He answered right away when they got the ball back. He took his team down 12 plays, 75 yards, a drive that took up 7 minutes, 19 seconds of time on the clock. The Eagles went for it twice on 4th down during that drive as well during that series. 4th and 2. It comes down to a 4th and 2 within the 10-yard line. They were on the Chiefs' 8-yard line. And the Chiefs line up in the neutral zone. And I freeze framed this and posted this one on my Twitter as well. I don't know what they were. I mean, they were lined up helmet to helmet at this point. So big mistake. You saw Chris Jones walk off towards the sidelines, chewing out some of his teammates, talking about how those are the kind of mistakes you cannot do. He was asked about it in the post-game interview. He doubled down on it and was just saying, like, look, you cannot make these kind of mistakes in these big spots like that because too many of those you're gonna find yourself taking an L in this game. And just before the half, so the Eagles were up 21-14 at that point. They end up stopping the Chiefs, and they add 3 points before they get to the half. Now, they're winning at halftime 24-14. I know a lot of Chiefs fans, a lot of Giants fans, because a lot of Giants fans were Chiefs fans on Sunday, very worried about the way the Chiefs were playing in that first half. Their defense struggled throughout that whole entire first half. They only forced the Philadelphia Eagles to 1 punt in the entire first half, and it looked like their defense was going to let them down in this game. At the half, Jalen Hurts was 17 of 22 for 183 yards and a touchdown. He also had 63 yards rushing. He was already like 7 yards away from breaking the rushing record for a quarterback by the time they got to the half. A.J. Brown had 74 yards on 3 receptions, and he had the 45-yard play with the big mutant-like touchdown, and Devonta Smith had 6 catches for 55 yards already. So I was worried about the Chiefs, and, there's times in the playoffs that reminded me of this moment, and the one that it reminded me of was when the Jaguars had that big comeback. They were, I think they were down by 27, I believe it was. Maybe it was like 21 or 27 at the half. And people were counting the Jaguars out against the Chargers in that game. And I know everyone who was rooting for the Jaguars watching that game said, the Jaguars are getting the ball at the half. They have to come out and score on this first possession coming out the half. I felt like the Chiefs were in a very similar spot, pretty much being dominated in that first half. They come out, and that's exactly what they do. 10 plays, 75 yards. Isaiah Pacheco, who had a really good day, man. I mean, tough running throughout. We saw this leading up to this game, and Isaiah Pacheco has been kind of ramping it up as he goes along. And you got to look back at that missed field goal as well from Harrison Butker at the beginning of the game as well, because now you'd be looking at a tie game. Instead, the Chiefs are down by 3 points at this point. And then you had that another near turning point in this game, another window, when Miles Sanders caught that little stop route on what looked like a hot read. I don't know what was going on that play, but it was a quick throw out to the flats. Miles Sanders, bobbles the ball, whatever you want to call it. Same guy, Nick Bolton, picks it up, scoops it up, runs in the end zone.
Bolton had a great game.
I remember you telling me this. you were like, you think there's any chance anybody on the defense could get MVP? And I was like, oh, hell nah, there's no way. Now, if that play would have stood, I think we could have looked at Nick Bolton possibly as an MVP candidate in this game. Referees end up, calling it a fumble on the field. They go back under the hood. I think they made the right call on that one. What you think about that? You think they made the right call?
So for me, it's like in the 90s, that's a fumble, right?
Yeah.
But in today's football, I think it was the right call according to, the way that the rules are. It's all very sketchy because it's hard to determine what is a catch and what is not a catch anymore. It just really is. In my mind, like as a football player, I'm like, man, he caught the ball. He got hit.
Yeah. I think actually in the 90s, that probably gets ruled an incompletion just because they don't have replay in the slow-mo.
True.
You know how live it's like bang, bang. Right off the bat, I thought it was going to be an incompletion, but then when I started looking at the slow-mo, 2 feet down, both hands on the ball, he goes to kind of tuck it away and kind of become a runner. And it all seemed like it was simultaneous. And a lot of calls in this game were like that.
So,
you look at the third down with Dallas Goedert, that was very similar.
To me, I think they did a great job on all of those really close calls, except for the Devonta Smith one. I thought that Devonta Smith one was a catch.
I saw a readjustment as he was going out of bounds with 1 foot. And we talked about that one on Twitter.
Yeah, so to me,
but you kind of blind too. I'm gonna keep it funky with you. You are kind of blind.
I am legally blind in my right eye. But I thought that was a catch. I wasn't like thinking like the big difference to me is either way that those calls went, it wouldn't have been outrageous to me to say it was a catch or to say it wasn't a catch.
I'm definitely with you. And they ruled it a catch on the field for that one.
They did. But I will tell you what was weird to me. I'm pretty sure it was that one. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it was that one. What's weird to me is that they were able to run a play, but then they said that play couldn't run because they didn't allow the defense time to substitute. So then it gave them a chance to throw a challenge flag, which is a little weird to me that you're able to do that, even though technically the next play didn't count. It's just that whole situation.
I like that. It abides by the rules,
weird.
Because that is the thing when you sub out, because they don't like those disadvantages that the offense can create with personnel mismatches and whatnot.
And I thought the Dallas Goedert one, that Dallas Goedert catch was fantastic, but that throw from Jalen Hurts,
the throw was incredible,
was absolutely amazing. Yeah. And it wasn't just the actual placement of the throw that was so good. It was the fact that he had to avoid pressure and, get a little bit outside the pocket and still make that accurate of a throw over 2 defenders. Once again, and I think this is the theme I think that a lot of people need to realize about Jalen Hurts was the placement. The placement of that throw was just fantastic. But yeah, as far as officiating goes, I'm not upset with the officiating at all. I think I've seen way worse officiated games and way more egregious calls and non-calls throughout this season than I thought
they were pretty consistent. There was an early missed holding penalty on James Bradbury on Juju Smith-Schuster earlier in the game that, you saw Juju on third down, like looking like, what the hell? They went to the replay. He definitely got hooked. So I thought that they didn't really call that consistent. So the last call is the one that I was a little bit, I was kind of like, you could have let that go. It would have been a nice story to see Jalen Hurts get one more opportunity to try to drive the ball down the field. It would have been extremely sketchy, too, because the Chiefs were only up by 3 points at that point, too, with about a minute left in the game. I'm banking on Jalen Hurts driving down there and at bare minimum, at least getting a field goal.
100%. Big shout out to Lax for the $9.99 super chat. So what's going on, fellas? Cry, Eagles, cry. Won 100 bucks. 100 bucks. 100 bucks betting.
Real drunk. 100 bucks.
Oh, man. 100 bucks betting on the Gatorade bath at the end of the game. Purple hit for plus 1,000.
Purple Gatorade? That is crazy.
Cheers to another great season of Authentic and The Beard. We appreciate you, Lax. I did very well, too. I think I hit a total of 6 parlays in this game. So it was a fun day of betting, but big shout out to Lax. Big shout out to our guy who was in Arizona all the way from Italy. Tuto for the $4.99 super chat. Says massive salute and respects to Authentic and The Beard and all diehard Giants fans in the building from Jersey. And please slap all Boyd's losers out of the front dough hard and fast. Forget about it. And he didn't put it in there, but because it's Tudo, I know he wanted to put it in there. Salute Italy.
Big salute. Big
Big
to
shout
Italy,
out,
man.
Tudo. We appreciate
And
you,
Tudo's
brother.
on the Drake vibes right now one time.
Hey, back to back. Tudo.
Tudo!
With the $4.99 super chat says Authentic. 6 of my rugby club teammates got arrested.
Damn, Tudo.
In canned for beating up boys losers. They were all released after 6 hours. For some reason, witnesses didn't show up. There it is. Salute
Tudo's
Italy.
A goon, allegedly.
I mean,
Tudo is
yeah.
a goon, allegedly.
I mean, that's got Tony Soprano written all
Yeah,
over
the Italians
it.
don't play. Big shout out to Tudo, man. Definitely appreciate that, fam. But yeah, I thought the referees did a pretty decent job in this game. Now, we get down to the fourth quarter, and the Chiefs finally took their first lead in the game in the fourth quarter with 12 minutes left. 28-27, a 5-yard touchdown pass to my guy. I don't care what no Giants fan was saying about this guy. I've been rooting for Kadarius Toney the whole time throughout the whole transition. Me and the homie Nick DeWick, we talked about this on Twitter. Some of the only Giants fans that was like actually showing support for Kadarius Toney, who, if you forgot, was like the face of the franchise during minicamp, even though he didn't show up to the non-mandatory ones. But by the time we got to camp and we started getting the preseason, it looked like they were using Kadarius Toney as like the face of the franchise. They trade him and everybody kind of switched sides on him because of the way he was acting, et cetera, et cetera. But he caught a 5-yard touchdown pass on a great design play from Andy Reid, and it wouldn't be the first time we were going to see this type of play in this game. Now, I saw a couple people breaking this down. I forget the homie's name on Twitter, and as soon as I get it, when we get to a next show, I'll make sure to shout him out. But that play was borrowed from the Jacksonville Jaguars, who ran that earlier on this year against the Philadelphia Eagles. You know the Doug Peterson ties to Andy Reid. Maybe they had a little conversation is what some people are speculating. But that nonetheless got Kadarius Toney in the end zone. And I was okay with just that. I was like, dang, Kadarius Toney, man, he's on his way. Might get a ring. At the point in time of the game, it seemed like that play was going to be like a very pivotal and game-sealing type of play. Although it was early, I might have just been getting my hopes up a little bit. And then the Eagles ended up going 3 and out. And I think this was their biggest mistake in the game outside of the fumble in the first half from Jalen Hurts is you didn't answer after the Chiefs scored there and took their first lead. I think that if the Eagles could have came out and answered that call, could have changed the whole landscape of this game. They end up punting the ball. Their punter kind of shanks the ball a little bit. It's only a 38-yard punt. Kadarius Toney catches it kind of low and takes it 65 yards all the way down to the Eagles' 5-yard line. I mean, he was this close to taking it back.
There's never been a punt return for a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
There has not been, and that was the longest punt return in Super Bowl history. So Kadarius Toney, man, coming into the league just a couple of years, man, he's taken a couple records. He owns the rookie wide receiver receiving yards record for the New York Giants, and now he's got the longest punt return in Super Bowl history, man. So big shout out to Kadarius Toney, man. It was great to see that.
Man. It's just I love stuff like that. You know,
Love
like
it.
I'm a sucker for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that it's awesome because these in the Super Bowl, it's like I think people forget about this so much. Okay. And when they talk about, you know, how they need this, they want their teams to do that and this and that, and how come we're not, you know, at the Super Bowl? It is so hard to win in the NFL, yet alone make it to the Super Bowl. There are people who are legends in this game who either never played in a Super Bowl or never won a Super Bowl. So for guys like Kadarius Toney, for guys like Sky Moore, you know, like these guys, they may never get this opportunity again.
Right.
Although I think they will, but they may not never.
Around Patrick Mahomes,
You know, so like anybody who makes it to the Super Bowl to make the most of it, to tell their kids, you know, like I played in the Super Bowl and this is me in the Super Bowl. Like to me, I live for stuff like that. So
Great stories.
I love the fact that Toney did that, and I love the little clip that you posted on your Instagram with him and Brandon Marshall too. I thought that was great.
That was a great one.
I just
Brandon Marshall's like, go ahead, man. You could talk yours, man.
Yeah, go ahead and say it, you know. But to me, I don't know. I get excited about stuff like that. It was a fantastic play, and in a game like this, when you have the two best teams, the two best quarterbacks left, the two best records, and on and on and on. It's the plays like that. You know, like people want to say, oh, Jalen Hurts fumble cost him the game. That's the biggest load of crap I've ever heard.
I don't even, like I told you, bro, like when it comes to Twitter, there's certain stuff now that I'm just not going to entertain. Sometimes just the strength off of a tweet like that, I'm going to block you. Like, I don't want to see you, if you have that kind of approach to football, I don't want to see your takes on my timelines. No disrespect. I just don't want to see that stuff. And I'm not going to respond to that stuff anymore. I used to, you know how I am. Like, if something is extremely out of this world, just like a horrible take, I'm going to be like, bro, what are you saying? And now I'm starting to learn, like, bro, just kind of chill out, man, and just, like, put those people on mute or block them. Do what you got to do.
Yeah, and another thing is, too, big shout-out to Zach for the $1.99 super chat. Says, did Julian Love have a point about Sirianni?
I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you get that one first.
Yes and no. I mean,
I knew we was going to get a political answer. That's why I said you got to go first.
So, I mean, yes, to some people, it's going to rub people the wrong way. And are there certain things about Nick Sirianni that, I think, especially after the clip with Jalen Hurts, can probably be toned down? Yes. But at the same time, it's like, that's who he is, right? And he's got his team in the Super Bowl. So who am I to question the way that he goes about his antics in his business? It'd be a completely different story if they were 2-14, right? 2-15 now that we have 17 games. But look, they're in the Super Bowl. This is who he is. And if his players, respond to it in a positive manner and play on the field, then that's all that matters, right? Like, I'm not here to judge anybody's character or their antics. Like, and I'm sure there's, sometimes, yes, I will, because it's the nature of the business, but I will never judge it to the extent where, like, I'm going to sit here and talk smack about it. Like, it's a little annoying at times, but to me, it doesn't really bother me. Like, if it was my coach, I'd kind of be a little hyped. And we talked about that a little bit, going into the Super Bowl. So
I'm going to stick to the script here. Did Julian Love have a point about Sirianni? No. The beef that I had with Julian Love's comments is saying that an NFL coach got a free ride. The players are out there making plays for damn sure. And it's not all designed by Nick Sirianni, but it takes a certain type of coach to lead these men, just like the Beard was saying, to get them in this position, whether it be with X's and O's or whether it be with just morale or whether it be with just direction, whatever it might be. And being that they straight up dog walked you the game before, the timing, it's like I saw a lot of people that they had a lot of, negative remarks to say about LeBron James on the day that he breaks the scoring title. Timing, it matters. Okay, like don't take when a guy is up on a mountain to try to bring him back down. Let him view from the top of that mountain, and then maybe in the offseason, if he makes those comments, I don't have as much of a problem with it. But you literally just got dog walked. They threw a touchdown right on you where you had an interception dead in your lap, and you end up falling right on your face. And here you are a week later on NFL Network talking about he got a free ride. Like, come on, bro. Like, if you were doing something, then that might mean a little bit more. If you maybe had some big hits, a pick six or interception, or made some plays in that game, and the game was close, maybe we could be like, okay, this guy's a point. He just played against them, had a close game. But for these people like him and for Deebo Samuel, these guys that are like pretty much talking shit after the fact that y'all just got straight up your ass kicked, it's silly.
That's more silly to me than Sirianni's antics.
Oh, yeah, way more silly. Like, you could easily just, like, deflect that and be like, man, whatever. The better team beat us, man. We got them next year. Easy. Yeah. Instead, you go and say this guy's getting a free ride. Like, come on. Some of the other stuff that he said, it does make sense. A players' league, I never had no beef with none of that stuff. It's literally that quote when he says a free ride. I think he was 100% wrong. And the timing, like I said, in comparison to the LeBron James thing, like, don't wait till a dude is on his way to the Super Bowl for you to start talking shit. That's like literally getting beat to the floor and you're like talking shit as you're getting beat to the ground. Doesn't make any sense.
Big shout out to Lax Ofofo for the $9.99 super chat. I was going to touch on this, so I'm glad you brought this up. Says, I've been rooting for Tony since he got traded. He just didn't work out here in New York. I root for most former Giants after they leave, except for Eli Apple and anyone that joins the Eagles. So the part about this that I think is super important is that, when he said it just didn't work out in New York, right? I think in situations like that, they're always looking for somebody to blame. There's the side of people that want to blame Kadarius Toney. Oh, he's this and he's that and he's not focused and he's lazy and he doesn't know the playbook and blah, 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 blah. Then there's going to be people that are going to look at it like, what's wrong with the coaching staff or the front office where they couldn't make this work? Why couldn't they make Kadarius Toney the playmaker? Why is he scoring touchdowns in the Super Bowl and not playing for the New York Giants? Sometimes just two things, the chemistry, it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't work. It's nobody to blame. That's human nature. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. We've seen it in sports across the board over years of this happening, where a guy just is not getting it done. It's not working in one place, and they need a fresh start. They need a new atmosphere. They need they need to be talked to a different way for them to understand how things go in a sport, in a league, in a game. And it just works out better in a different situation. So I just think that's just the case with Kadarius Toney. We could be completely wrong. We could be, it might not ever work out to the point of him, being this superstar, but he has found a nice role in Kansas City. And I think that he's enjoying the game again. And I think that, if he could stay healthy, we'll see what happens. But a big shout out to Kadarius Toney. Big shout out to Lax044 for the $9.99 super chat.
Yeah, that's a good point, too, about Eli Apple, who definitely comes across as, like, just annoying on Twitter for sure. But I do think some people take it a little bit overboard with Eli Apple, even, like, bringing his mother into the situation and things like that. It's just like,
there's a line. There's a line for everything.
And then he feeds off it. I noticed that now. Like, it's kind of like a defense mechanism for Eli Apple. But that's a good point, Lax, straight up.
Big shout out to Tuto for the $4.99 super chat. Says Awthentic, I'm in Jersey with my fam now, but I'm getting texts from Italy, and my entire rugby club are streaming your live show, and they love it. Man. It's 1:30 a.m. in Italy. Shout out to everybody in Italy. Shout out to Tuto. I almost called you Tony because I've been just the Soprano vibes are just going right now. So shout out to Tuto Soprano. We appreciate you, buddy. As always. Big shout out to Lax044 for the $4.99 super chat. Says Sirianni is so obnoxious. Not surprised Hurts is more mature than him.
Yeah, Hurts is more mature than anybody in the NFL. Have you ever seen that guy blowing up on the sidelines?
Nope, never.
Never.
Have you ever seen him like flip out at a press conference?
Nope.
Interview?
Nope.
On a play.
He's one of the most mature. That's what I love about Jalen Hurts, man. That calm leader demeanor. I like that. And I think he'll be back in this game. I really do, man. Like, a lot of people think that it's going to benefit the New York Giants if they give Jalen Hurts a big contract. But I'm like, can y'all find a way to get him up out of the NFC East, man? Because that dude is a problem. And if his play can continue to elevate like what we saw in the Super Bowl, I'm extremely worried. But we are getting our defensive coordinator back, so it is looking like Wink Martindale's going to be back, so that should help a little bit.
Yeah, it's just an interesting situation. I love Jalen Hurts, and we're going to talk a little bit more about him, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm like finding myself defending Jalen Hurts a lot still to this day.
Yeah, I try to defend just what is right. Like some of the fans in our base like woke up and the day after the Super Bowl they're just like attacking Jalen Hurts like terrible throw. If we had AJ Brown and it's just like dog. Like I understand that like there's a with rivalries especially there's a balance to like shit talking and whatnot. But sometimes I just think you're just better off just not saying nothing. Just like it. This Eagles loss to me is not a win for the New York Giants. That's just me. And I know I'm not in the majority on that. I definitely know that. But I do want to kind of finish off just a couple more key points of this game, and then we'll get off into some stats here. So Kadarius Toney, I know that went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but ends up getting the punt return, takes him down to the 5, and they ran the same exact play that they ran for Kadarius Toney for Sky Moore, who got a 4-yard touchdown on 3rd and goal. And it was still a 1-score game. Eagles come down and they respond, and this was a big moment for me for Jalen Hurts here, man. He scored the touchdown, but not only did he score the touchdown, it was down by 8. He trucks his way in the end zone for the 2-point conversion to tie the game up. 35-35 with 5 minutes, 15 seconds left, and this one Patrick Mahomes just straight up turned into a superhero. He had 2 completions for 17 yards. They ran 3 running plays that gained him 15 yards, and then Mahomes in the pocket, which he was great at all day. I know he didn't get sacked on the day, and a lot of people want to credit the offensive line, who did have a good game. But Patrick Mahomes is just so crafty in that pocket. The awareness, I was talking to some of the homies in the spaces about this a little bit earlier. Just the way that Patrick Mahomes can see things about to develop, leverage on the offensive line. He'll see that his his right tackle might have inside leverage, so he knows when he's going to step up, it'll be towards the inside. And on the biggest play of the game, 3rd and 8, he steps up, runs for, 17 yards to get down to the 26-yard line. And then the biggest play of the game really happened here because it looked like the Chiefs were kind of struggling and were going to stall out there in the red zone. It came down to a 3rd down, and Mahomes tried to throw the ball to Juju Smith-Schuster, incomplete pass, but James Bradbury gets called for the flag, which was, to me, a little bit of a letdown. I do think he was holding on the play. A lot of people don't understand pass interference in conjunction to holding. Some people are saying the ball was not catchable. It doesn't matter when they're calling a holding penalty. It's the initial contact that they're throwing the flag on, which I don't know if we want to, revisit this call. I really don't like that these holding penalties on wide receivers are automatic first downs.
Yeah, I think that's it's interesting how sometimes a play or a situation makes you kind of revisit the whole atmosphere of the origins of an event. Okay. So for example, here, when you're talking about it, there are some penalties in football, especially that kind of make you question how did we get to the point?
How did we get there? Yeah. why would they make it that a holding penalty is automatic first down? That's the real question. It's why would they do that? You got teams that get bailed out every now and again on a 3rd and long. And the holding penalty happens 3-4 yards past the line of scrimmage. It might be 3rd and 18, and now we're looking at an automatic first down. The Giants have been, the beneficiary of that a few times, and I'm grateful for it when it works in our favor. But in this case, if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, it only feels right that you replay the down. You're looking at 3rd and 8. I could consider the 5-yard penalty.
3rd and 3, right?
3rd and 3. Yeah, you give him an opportunity to get that first down again.
Offensive holding isn't an automatic first down, automatic 4th down. It just seems weird. It doesn't make sense. Now in the specifics of that penalty, that's what when we started the show, I said, I'm a little selfish, like a lot of people are when complaining about that penalty. We're not. Most of us are in the heat of the moment, are obviously complaining about that penalty because you are so engulfed in a masterpiece of a game between Van Gogh and Rembrandt with Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes, where you just don't want it to end that way.
I would have loved to see my man Jalen Hurts get the ball back, and it would have just been the perfect ending to such a great Super Bowl.
Exactly.
That if he could have got the chance, and it's not that I wanted to see him go down and win, because I'm telling you, there was something in me for sure that was rooting for the Chiefs when it came down to it. I'm in here celebrating when they're scoring touchdowns. I'm rooting for the greatness of Patrick Mahomes as well. This story, this is like Jordan flu game. When I did hear that Jordan didn't have a flu or something like that in the flu game. I don't know if you heard about that. It came out
no,
that
that sounds
he
like
was just hungover or something like that. That's what they.
Oh yeah,
what they saying
at
allegedly.
The casino and all that.
That's what they saying allegedly.
You know what that is? That's hate.
No, I don't know. I heard this source. It's not from somebody who didn't want to see it happen.
LeBron
might
James.
Might have been Jordan. I don't know. But Patrick Mahomes, on a high ankle sprain, it's. I won't say it's more impressive because Jordan's dropping big buckets, and when you look at the stat line for Patrick Mahomes, it wasn't super crazy, but it was a great day for him. Mm-hmm. But to do that on that hobbled ankle, it was a great story, and to nip the ending like that, I wanted him to earn it a little bit more, and we saw him get bailed out. Not necessarily, I don't even want to use the word bailed out, but we saw the championship game end in a penalty as well that put them in position to get a field goal to win the game, and then this one put them in position to pretty much just kill the rest of the clock. And Harrison Butker comes in and kicks a 27-yard field goal, which I was a little bit sketched out for him. I'm not even going to lie. I mean, this is a Super Bowl. Everything's on the line. I know it's a 27-yarder. Chiefs end up winning 38-35. Now, I wanted to go over some of the notes that I talked about in our preview show that we had done on Sunday morning because, I pride myself in doing research, and also I'm the kind of person that if you can present me with facts or you can present me with something that'll make me pivot off my opinion, I will always consider it. Although I am stuck on my opinions and stubborn to a point sometimes. But if you present that fact, I'm going to have to give you your props. And coming into this game, being that, we did cover the Philadelphia Eagles the whole entire year. So I had a great gauge of who they were in all aspects, in all departments, right, in all rooms. With the Kansas City Chiefs, I had to do a little bit more digging for them, outside of their skill positions, which I keep my eye on for pretty much all the teams in the NFL. But doing some digging and trying to find research on them, when I came to the conclusion of what the plan would be for the Kansas City Chiefs to come in here and what the plan of attack would be to try to stop the Philadelphia Eagles, I didn't know that like a lot of this stuff that I was saying was going to really come to be like this true. And they literally did all these things that I talked about on the preview show, like not to toot my own horn or anything, because I did get a lot of this research from other people around the NFL who do a lot of digging. I'm going to give them their props after I talk about this. Now, I talked about for the Chiefs to win. I said the magic number was 27. So we'll start with where I got something kind of wrong here. I said the Chiefs were 55-3 in their past 58 games when they hold opponents to fewer than 27 points. Now, the Eagles did score 35 points, and it scared the living day out of me. I swear to God. Like, I'm looking at the Eagles like they about to win this game. It didn't matter because in the end, you had Patrick Mahomes playing quarterback on the other side. I talked about for the Chiefs to win, the Chiefs will have to stop the run if they want a chance. And they did that right off the bat. Now, let me scroll down and kind of look at some of these numbers here. They held the Philadelphia Eagles to just 115 yards rushing. And we know Philly, their bread and butter has been the run. I thought that that's how they would try to attack the Chiefs, although I did speak on how good and how underrated this Chiefs rush defense was coming into this game, ranked number 8 in the NFL. So they started off, it was sketchy in the beginning too. But they started off, they made a plan of attack to stop the run, and I did notice right off the bat that they were targeting Jalen Hurts. They wanted Jalen Hurts to have the ball in his hand. Now, we talked also about 3rd and 5 not being an obvious passing down for the Philadelphia Eagles because how aggressive the Philadelphia Eagles have been on 4th down. And it seemed like every time they got to 4th and 6, 4th and 5, 4th and 4, they ran the ball on 3rd down, and then they would go for it on 4th down. And I forget what they were. Let me scroll down so I can see what they were on 4th.
2 for 2 on 4th.
2 for 2 on 4th down. So that goes to show you Sirianni, and those are the kind of things that where you can't say a coach is getting a free ride. He was aggressive. It reminded me of Doug Peterson, how he was in the playoffs, being very aggressive on 4th down, knowing that they're going to line up in that Philadelphia quarterback sneak, and they're going to get it every time. Now, I also talked about the bracketing and the combo coverages that A.J. Brown was going to see in this game, and would that leave Devonta Smith open? Now, I also made a stupid mistake when we did the over-unders when we were talking about Devonta Smith's numbers, because had I have thought that Jalen Hurts was going to be able to take advantage of the one-on-one matchups like I talked about in the preview, these weren't question marks for me, though. They do have question marks at the end of it. So that's probably why I was a little bit puzzled. I also said, can Hurts find the one-on-one matchups and make the Chiefs pay, which he did. He really made them pay with big plays to Devonta Smith. The one throw was a little bit short on the one where Devonta had to step out of bounds at the 2-yard line, which should be a touchdown. But he ended up, they ended up scoring a touchdown on that drive nonetheless anyway. But Hurts really stepped up in this game to the point that it surprised me. I expected Hurts to come in here and have a good day, but I didn't expect Jalen Hurts to go out here and put up these massive numbers. And let me bring up Jalen Hurts' numbers on the screen just so we can have these up here while I'm talking about it. Jalen Hurts, 304 passing yards. We wouldn't have thought that he was going to have more passing yards than Patrick Mahomes. 27 of 38. This kid was accurate all day long. One of these incompletions, man, that went to Quez Watkins, where he had pressure up the middle. It was a little like post route that went right to the safety. I don't even know how Jalen Hurts got the ball there. It was a perfect throw. Quez Watkins couldn't reel it in. Definitely an NFL catch, but he couldn't reel it in. And I just was extremely surprised by Jalen Hurts. Like, I knew he was going to play well, but to put up 4 total touchdowns, the 304 passing yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. The one blemish was the fumble on the entire day, and I love how he answered after the fumble. He goes down there, 75-yard drive for a touchdown. Now, I also talked about how the Chiefs were going to force Jalen Hurts to be the main ball carrier. That's exactly what they did. Yeah. The other running backs for the Philadelphia Eagles pretty much did nothing on the day. Jalen Hurts accounted for most of their yards. Forget the rushing yards. He accounted for most of their yards. Now,
it was like
for
80%.
Mahomes, like 80% of the yards. Yeah. I think it was like 60-something yards that weren't through him.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
So just a great day from him. They are not this close in this game without Jalen Hurts. And look, I'm going to say this here. I've said this on Twitter a lot. A lot of people throughout the year wanted to harp on this fact, and I don't want to bring this back to Daniel Jones so much, but it's a point that I feel I got to make. Everyone was saying that you could replace Jalen Hurts with a quarterback like Daniel Jones and nothing would change. This team would be the exact same team. I think Jalen Hurts proved to us that that's not the case. This guy, I'm not saying he's in another stratosphere than Daniel Jones, but he's a tick above. He's a bona fide top 10 guy on everyone's list. And you can say that. Me as a Giants fan, I'm hoping that if they bring Daniel Jones back, maybe he can upgrade and update his play a little bit and get a little better. Jalen Hurts does have the benefit of being underneath the same play caller for 2 seasons. But this dude stepped up like I've never seen before against a solid unit in the Kansas City Chiefs who knew that they had to stop him. And he went out there, he did his thing. He had 70 rushing yards on the day to pair with the 304 yards. So kudos to this man, air horns for this man. This man balled out. And if there's anybody on that Philadelphia Eagles staff or that roster that deserves criticism, it's not him. It's really not him. And me and the Beard have definitely been, on the side of Jalen Hurts, pretty much saying, like, this is a guy who he has the tools to be it. I went back and looked at a bunch of my receipts from 2021 and early in 2022 where people are like, I don't see it. I don't see it. Somebody even tweeted me today and said he's a fumbling machine or something crazy like that. I get tagged in. They're like, he fumbled it 9 times this year. I'm like, bro, you need to look up and see that fumbles lost is very different than fumbles, because if we did that, Daniel Jones would have 19 fumbles in 2019. He lost 11. Jalen Hurts has lost 2 fumbles every year he's been in the NFL for his entire career. So 2 a year, come on, we can't. Y'all are nitpicking, looking for things that don't exist. Now, on the other side, for the GOAT, the new GOAT,
the Unigoat,
the unanimous GOAT now, Patrick Mahomes. Okay, we talked about how they were going to anticipate Travis Kelce being double-teamed, which I didn't see that early on in the first half, which that kind of scared me. And you saw Travis Kelce march down the field on the first drive, scored a touchdown, and I thought that third down and red zone was going to be a thing for Travis Kelce, because you would think they would double-team him and not let him get the ball on third down, but they did allow him to get a touchdown in this game. And Patrick Mahomes, just doing what he does. With limited opportunity in this game, 182 passing yards, 21 to 27, 3 touchdowns. Look at the QBR. That's efficient right there. The boy was not sacked on the day, 42 yards on the ground. So we knew Mahomes was going to show up in this way. I think Jalen Hurts had the bigger game. Mm-hmm. I really think that. And when it came down to it, I think that they announced it fairly fast, but I think that they were questioning giving Patrick Mahomes the MVP. But he did what he had to do. I think he played a fantastic game. 9 times out of 10, that's going to win you the game. 9 times out of 10 is going to win you the game comfortable. But because the Philadelphia Eagles had Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith on the other side, it made things a little bit interesting. Now, Patrick Mahomes, 93 of those 182 passing yards came in the second half. I really feel like he maximized the opportunities. They scored 38 points. They did get the 1 defensive touchdown. So you're looking at 31 points came from Patrick Mahomes in the offense. They only had the ball for 24 minutes in the game. I was watching the Herd this morning, or watching some clips from the Herd, and Colin Cowherd brought up a couple of points here, and this is why he is the unanimous GOAT, and the GOAT to me right now when it comes to quarterbacks. And this dude, if he can find a way to not plateau here, like, just imagine if this is not Patrick Mahomes' ceiling, and I don't think it is. We saw him do this with a high ankle sprain, right? Yeah. This guy, 5 years as a starter, 5 straight championship games, 5 straight Pro Bowls, 5 straight division titles, 5 straight 12-win seasons, 3 Super Bowl appearances, 2-time MVP, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, 2-time first-team All-Pro. First quarterback to win a regular season MVP and Super Bowl MVP since Kurt Warner did it in 1999. That's damn near 25 years, bro. First quarterback to lead the NFL in passing and win a Super Bowl. So that goes to show you, he's not one of these guys, no disrespect to my Cowboys fans out there, like a Dak Prescott that lights it up in the regular season. When it comes time for the playoffs, can't handle business. We know he's had weapons around him his whole entire career, but so have a lot of other quarterbacks. To lead the NFL in passing and go out there and win a Super Bowl, and that's never been done. It surprised me for one, but Patrick Mahomes, add that to the resume as well. And Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, he scrambled for 24 first downs.
I was going to say the biggest, most important stat on this screen right now is 42 yards rushing.
And the big run at the end, because he had a 17-yard run at the end that really put them in position to get the field goal to really put them over the top. Now, I went and I looked at Patrick Mahomes' rushing stats, right? And I'll tell you why. Another little Daniel Jones thing here. I posted some Jalen Hurts stuff, and they're like, how come every time they talk about Daniel Jones, nobody wants to list his rushing stats? I'm like, well, it's kind of like, when you talk about like Barry Sanders and you talk about Emmitt Smith, no one's going to list their receiving stats, right? They're running backs. So we expect quarterbacks to pass the ball. Don't expect people to always list rushing stats. I went and I looked up Patrick Mahomes' rushing stats. He had 60 carries this year for 358 yards, right? The 60 carries is half the amount of carries that Daniel Jones had. Nobody's talking about Patrick Mahomes like he's some running quarterback here. But the dude is averaging over 5 yards per carry and knows how to get it done with his legs. 24 first downs in the post, doubled any quarterback ever. 24 first downs on his legs, not throwing the ball. It doubled any quarterback ever. So this is why, to me, Patrick Mahomes is people are trying to thrust Joe Burrow in that category early on this year a little
listen,
bit. Right?
Because you know what's interesting, though? I want to say this really fast. What you just talked about, the way that Patrick Mahomes gets scrambles and does things with his legs to get the first downs, it's obviously not Jalen Hurts. It's not Daniel Jones. It's not Lamar Jackson. It's not Justin Fields. But Joe Burrow does a lot. I think Joe Burrow watches a lot of Patrick Mahomes, because if you notice, that's what Joe Burrow will do too. He'll scramble and get you some first downs, especially when it matters too. So that's an interesting
especially
stat.
as of late. I will give Burrow that as of late. He didn't do that a lot in his first year. I say year and a half. He wasn't doing that a lot. But as of late, he has been doing that. But Patrick Mahomes, very deceptive runner. You think he's going out of bounds. He tiptoe back inside, get a couple more yards. You look at the run where he slipped on the logo. He ended up passing this one. But the way he slipped on the logo, peeled out the pocket, made the throw, amazing. So for me, fantastic quarterback play in this game. And that's what you want to see. And I tweeted out after this, I said, man, for every team that, that wasn't in the Super Bowl this year, fans of those teams, these kind of games put you in perspective like, damn, man, like my guy's going to have to go up against that guy if we're going to want to win a Super Bowl, which is ridiculous. And I want to show one clip. This is probably going to get us demonetized, but at this point, it don't matter to me. It's the last show of the season, and I think y'all deserve this. But I always talk to the Beard about buying time, right? I'm always like, you got to be able to buy time. And first, I want to send a kudos to the quarterback school and JT O'Sullivan, who, for when I was digging for notes on this game, JT O'Sullivan had the best notes and the best content from a quarterback perspective and an X and O perspective that I think most content creators can't kind of put out those kind of things because they don't have the NFL experience. And I'm starting to call a lot of content creators talking heads, because if you're not like really cooking content, I can't call you a content creator. You're a talking head. You put up a mic and you talk. There's nothing really else to it. I can't really call you a content creator. But JT O'Sullivan, fantastic channel. I suggest everybody go subscribe to this channel, the quarterback school, the QB school. He has a breakdown on Jalen Hurts after the Super Bowl. He has a breakdown on Patrick Mahomes. He's got a breakdown on a couple of rookies that a lot of people are looking at as far as quarterbacks go, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson. And to me, this was one of the plays that stood out and might lean a little bit towards what Zach was saying, if maybe Julian Love could have been right on this free ride thing. And he talks about hot reads and how the Philadelphia Eagles didn't have any hot reads. Check this out.
The Eagles have no answer for hot unless it's quick game. This is a great play from Hurts, basically bailing out his team to not have hot answers all year, to be able to find the number 2 from the bottom all the way across the field. But this is something that I feel like we talked about on this channel a lot this year, and this is not an Eagles dominant channel. The Eagles need some hot answers, man. It's borderline malpractice in my opinion, especially in the Super Bowl. There's so many things that are bad in my opinion. We're hot up top, so we're getting the squeeze here. So these two are down. We'll show from the back. We've got a free runner here. Free runner. You got to have a hot answer. One of these people needs to be looking. We got to have something built in to give Jalen Hurts an option. You can't tell your quarterback in the league to just drop back, hey, if you're hot, go make a play for us. Now, he bails us out here because he's a great athlete and it's in his bag during this game. But this is malpractice, in my opinion. And this is not the first time. The video evidence is there all year. I mean, where do you want him to throw the ball up top? Which one is hot? The shallow, not looking. The tight end, not looking. No one's looking. It's 5-person protection. We don't have hot answers? He needs to go out there and make that kind of play on 3rd and 8. Now he does, and he's rolling. But again, watch Kelsey. Kelsey looks like he's going to 32. So this backer. Now he does a decent job of trying to play it off. But both these guys squeeze down. So we're here. We're here. This is a free runner from the C gap. We have to have a hot answer here. This isn't my opinion. Okay, this is how football is played well at any level. I don't care if you're at Pop Warner, Pee Wee, Flag, middle school, elementary school. Need hot. Really, he's hot twice because I think 6 is coming from the slot too. You just can't. I mean, fuck. This I feel bad for Jalen Hurts.
Now, bro,
the way he ended that, it's who do you put that on though? Do you put that on the offensive coordinator?
Most definitely. And the reason why I wanted to bring attention to that clip is that guy just got hired for a head coaching job, right?
Yeah.
Shane Steichen.
Yeah. Colts.
That's kind of interesting to me. And if you notice, he reiterated it and he said, like, this has been a reoccurring theme for them. If I don't know if you remember this, and I retweeted it today on Twitter. One of the first tweets I ever tweeted out about Jalen Hurts.
The left tackle.
It was about when the left tackle completely did not make the block.
And never forget that play.
The edge rusher comes in untouched, and Jalen Hurts recognized it so fast, peeled out. Now, he didn't make a throw like that on that play, but he ends up scrambling out of bounds for like a 2-yard gain. Those are the kind of things that you cannot teach at the quarterback position. And I think those are the kind of things that if you love football like how I love football and how the Beard loves football, I'm a New York Giants fan. That's me till the casket dips. But I love this game of football. And I'm a kind of stand-up person that if somebody deserves their props, I'm going to give them their props.
Absolutely.
I don't care what the relationship is with my team to their team, the correlation, I don't care. And Jalen Hurts how did he get out of that? How did he even get out of that and make that throw? And threw a dart on that. So I just wanted to bring attention to that to get that guy's props. I've been giving Jalen Hurts his props all day on Twitter, retweeting things that I've seen. Make sure you go check out that whole video. Tell them, when you go to the comments, tell them Awthentik and The Beard sent you, man. I try to retweet and clip up as many great clippings as I can from that channel. I'm waiting for JT O'Sullivan to do another video on Daniel Jones because those kind of breakdowns on your quarterback, we can't recognize all that stuff. I'm going to keep it funky with you. You need a quarterback or a coach or somebody who really knows the game. And the way he talked about, like, you can't do these kind of things not only on the NFL level, but the collegiate level, the high school level, the peewee level to the elementary level. That said a lot about that quarterback. But I got a ton more to talk about Jalen Hurts. But this game, this matchup, fantastic from the quarterback perspective, man. It was a great game to watch. I enjoyed this game.
Yeah, it was. There's only 2 punts in this game from each team. 2 punts from each team in this game. So to me, that's something that stood out. I did want to talk, obviously, about some of the things that I brought up prior to that game. What's up, Glock? Is the red zone I thought was super important, and I talked about how Philadelphia is one of the best teams in the red zone, and Kansas City was one of the worst. They were 31st against defending the red zone during the regular season. And in a game that's this close between 2 evenly matched teams and 2 quarterbacks playing at an elite level in this game, a red zone stop can be a huge thing. And,
Facts.
The Kansas City Chiefs, 31st in the league in red zone stops, going up against Philadelphia, who was the 3rd best red zone team. They held Philadelphia 3 of 5 in the red zone. Now, in most cases, that's not like a huge difference, but in a game like this, that makes so much difference because you're coming down to the wire here. You're in a 1-possession game at the end. So to me, those red zone stops were very, very
huge.
Critical in this game.
You talked about that too. Yeah, they were huge. There was a lot of them in this game. There was a lot of red zone attempts in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas City was 4 of 5 in the red zone. Philadelphia Eagles were 3 of 5 in the red zone.
Yep.
Big shout out to Zach for the $1.99 super chat. Since people said Jalen balled on the pocket. Bailed on the pocket too quick. 21.
Crazy.
Yeah. So
on that particular play, that's wild. Because the seam route, if he did have the protection up front, the seam route, I believe it's A.J. Brown on the seam route, is what he could have possibly hit the safeties a little bit late in recovering to get there. You got an edge rusher not accounted for. As Washington Commanders fan, you remember how we won y'all game, right?
Yeah. So
blindside pressure, same thing.
You have to, in that situation, you're just like, JT said, like, you're basically saying, hey, guy, go make a play.
Yeah. And you know what's so wild? The way that Jalen Hurts reacted to it, it feels like it's front side pressure, don't it?
Yeah.
Ain't that crazy?
He literally rolls towards the pressure. You know what I'm saying?
He gave you 2 steps to the opposite of the pressure and then loop back around you. But if you think about it, like the difference between a guy, and I'm not trying to shit on Taylor Heineke, but the difference between a guy like Taylor Heineke, who when you look at like arm strength, accuracy, all those other things, it's not that drastic of a difference from a Jalen Hurts, right? Jalen Hurts obviously can excel, has more velocity on the ball and things like that, can throw it farther, I bet, although that Hail Mary doesn't say that at the end of that game. But he did step on Kelsey's foot on that. I think a lot of people didn't see that. But the difference between a Jalen Hurts and a Taylor Heineke is just that. Taylor Heineke caught that snap out of the shotgun against the New York Giants. Kayvon Thibodeau was unblocked and literally laid him out without him even getting an eyeball on Kayvon Thibodeau. Jalen Hurts in this situation almost makes you think he has 2 players coming blindside. And it makes you, the way that he reacts, it almost seems like it was front side pressure. So the awareness that's there, I don't know why people would say that he bailed too quick on it outside of just I don't like even call people this, but just being a hater.
Being a hater. And some of the other things that stood out to me, obviously, in any other game, some of these stats and these plays, they might not be as significant. But when you're in the Super Bowl and you're playing against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, or you're the Kansas City Chiefs and you're playing against Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles, this is where the term "a game of inches" comes from.
Yeah.
Now, and so penalties were a big issue for the Philadelphia Eagles. 6 penalties for 33 yards, okay? But the one penalty, the false start on the 3rd and 1 quarterback sneak, when the next play is a fumble, then you obviously have the penalty at the end of the game, which allows Kansas City
4th and 2 in the red zone, you know?
Yep. These are the penalties that are going to alter the game. You know what I'm saying? So, to me, those penalties came back to haunt the Philadelphia Eagles on more than one occasion. Obviously, the 2 big ones being the 3rd down false start, which led to the fumble, and obviously the penalty at the end of the game. Philadelphia, throughout all of this, managed to control the time of possession. We talked about that by 11 minutes and 34 seconds.
Fantastic job. Without the running game going. That's what was so crazy about that. They did it with Jalen Hurts passing the ball.
Yeah, and Jalen Hurts, the things that he did in this game were just spectacular. And obviously, we talked a lot about both of these defenses. And, you know, I was joking with Awthentik at one point, and you know, looking at some of these prop bets and being like, you know, the no touchdowns scored in a game, right? When we finished our show on Sunday, and then you know, I kind of was looking at it like, man, like no sacks for the Philadelphia Eagles, like what a crazy bet that would be. And they didn't have 1 sack. The Philadelphia Eagles had 0 sacks. They only had 1 tackle for loss and 5 quarterback hits.
Yeah.
So you know, it's not. It's more so, obviously, you want to be able to criticize a team, but at the same time, you have to give the other team respect too. Whereas, you know, the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line came to play football. They played very well in the trenches, and it's not just protecting Patrick Mahomes. It's the run blocking too. Pacheco had an outstanding performance in this game. And you said it, I thought, perfectly in the beginning of this episode when you talked about the momentum of Pacheco moving forward from game to game to game, especially here in the playoffs. You know, and he's not the biggest guy, but man, does he run with emphasis. Tough runner. He gets the tough yards. And in a game like this, a game of inches, a Super Bowl, 1-possession game, every yard counts. So I wanted to give some love to Isaac Pacheco, obviously. And the Philadelphia run. I did it again?
Yeah.
Oh, baseball season's around the corner.
It's I know this now.
The Philadelphia Eagles ran the ball 32 times.
Yeah.
And 115 yards is nothing to laugh about. You know, it's under 100 yards that you kind of get to, but it's the 115 yards, 70 of the 115 yards came from Jalen Hurts. And I talked about Patrick Mahomes and his 44 rushing yards. The Kansas City Chiefs ran for 158. 44 of those came from Mahomes. You know how many people thought Patrick Mahomes was going to run the ball for 44 yards in this game? I'm going to say less than 10% of football watchers and football bettors.
With his arm for sure. And Pacheco, I think, was one of the big differences in this game. You know, when Patrick Mahomes got that tackle in the first half and his ankles, you know, bothering him clearly. When they come out in the second half and you got a guy like Pacheco you can rely on, especially, look, man, that wide receiver core for the Kansas City Chiefs was non-existent until about the fourth quarter when Juju Smith-Schuster started making a few plays. Outside of him, they don't have any wide receivers that can really make any plays. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, where was he?
0 catches.
0 targets, 0 catches. I didn't see him on the field, bro.
And I wanted to give a big shout out to Juju because there was that drive in the second half. There was a drive where it was Juju. Juju after Juju after Juju after Juju. Juju had that. I mean, and that's the thing that we talked about too earlier in this episode about, you know, these guys like the Kadarius Toney. Yeah, he didn't have the stat lines, but
Right.
he had a huge play. He had a punt return. He had a touchdown.
Yeah.
You know, like it's Sky Moore. I talked about Sky Moore. Like
Sky Moore is so crazy because when you see him on the field, he makes an impact, and then when you go look at the box score, it's nothing. It's literally nothing. It's like a touchdown and a reception here. It's nothing. It's so surprising. When you look at the Kansas City Chiefs offense, just imagine if they had firepower over there.
Yeah.
Just imagine if they had some real deal weapons. You had Juju Smith-Schuster, 7 receptions for 53 yards on 9 targets. Travis Kelce, obviously the best tight end weapon in the NFL, 6 receptions. We're going to get to that over under here in a second. Definitely bothered me with that. 8 targets, 96 yards and a touchdown. Or 81 yards and a touchdown. Yeah. Now, outside of that, they had no other pass catchers, none for the Chiefs, that had more than 1 reception outside of Justin Watson, who had 2 for 18, and then Jerick McKinnon in the backfield, who had 4 for 34. That's it.
Yeah, who also made the slide not to score at the end of the
Great
game.
Great play. Could you imagine, like, you haven't scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl, obviously, and it's right there for you. I can be like, I scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl talking shit to your grandson. And you got to slide. Great play, though. Great team play. Yeah. I love that. Patrick Mahomes is just a different kind of guy, and I think that's why when the post game speeches were happening and stuff like that, you saw Travis Kelce say like, forget all of y'all pretty much who doubted the Kansas City Chiefs, and I saw some people saying like, who doubted the Chiefs? Everyone doubted the Chiefs.
Did. When they lost Tyreek Hill.
Exactly, bro.
What's Patrick Mahomes going to do now? And the Chiefs were off to a bit of a slow start. I think people forget that. They weren't like out the gate, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, here comes the Chiefs. There was a lot of doubt. I mean, even in the preseason, everybody wanted to talk about Russell Wilson and the Broncos, Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Oh, here come the Raiders now, Devontae Adams. And then it's kind of like, oh, well, the Chiefs lost Tyreek Hill. What do they do now? So it just goes to show you, coaching and having a guy like Patrick Mahomes, how much it means to your team, obviously. And the other thing is, too, is I want to give some – yes, the Philadelphia Eagles lost this game. But a lot of people were talking about, that pass defense is the word everybody loves to use these days, overrated, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's not – you're not overrated. You're rated based upon your statistical performances against the teams that you play, okay? And that's why the Philadelphia's pass defense was rated what they were, number 1 in the National Football League, because they were only allowing 179.8 yards per game. I mean, did they face that many great quarterbacks? Maybe not. But that's what you are statistically performing. That's why you're rated the number 1 pass defense in the league. And what they do, they help Patrick Mahomes to 182 passing yards. Yeah,
it was a good first half, especially. And I think that the second half adjustments is probably the only reason why the Eagles ended up losing this game. Defensively, didn't make the adjustments at all. And Andy Reid coming out in that second half, they scored on every possession. 3 straight touchdowns, and they also scored a field goal. So, they couldn't be stopped in that second half. They were possessed.
And I think that's something that Philadelphia is going to have to, obviously they're going to have a new defensive coordinator and a new offensive coordinator. But this is something Nick Sirianni is going to have to look himself in the mirror and think about, because this isn't just this game. This has been the case throughout the season for the Philadelphia Eagles. They have played poorly in the second half in comparison to their first half plays consistently throughout the year. So I think that's something that, we tend to forget that Nick Sirianni's only been doing this for a few years at the head coaching position. So this is something that he's going to have to improve on in the offseason, is as a head coach making these second half adjustments if you want to compete with coaches like Andy Reid, But just Jalen Hurts, I will end off, my thing here on this game, talking about Jalen Hurts before you touched on Jalen Hurts. For me, I feel the need to have to say some of these things, because it's not just Twitter. It's all over the place, and you're gonna get this in sports no matter what, right? But I feel like Jalen Hurts is getting this treatment, and I don't want to sit here and accuse anybody and say it's because he's a black quarterback, right? But I have to say that he's getting the same treatment as Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson goes out and leads the league in throwing touchdowns. And what happens? Oh, he can't pass the ball.
Yeah.
That is
strange.
And to me, it's like, Jalen Hurts is getting this treatment where he is so under a microscope, right? He is under a microscope where it's the point where it's like, you're talking about how his fumble, or you're talking about how a short Hail Mary pass defines what he just did in a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And you're talking about he choked. And
man, I'm glad I didn't see that one yet.
He didn't do anything. Like, he carried this team on his back.
Yeah, he did.
The entire game. He was everything that anybody who's a fan of a football team wishes their quarterback was. Okay? And to me, he put on an elite level performance in this game. This is a performance of an elite quarterback. And now some people may want to say everybody's going to have a different terminology and a different way that they view a top something quarterback. To me, right now, at the end of this season, based on this season, Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback. Jalen Hurts is a top 4 quarterback. You could put him anywhere between 2 and 4, and I will not argue with you.
Yeah,
because
I'm right there with you. I'd go 2 to 7 max probably.
To me,
there's a lot of good quarterbacks here. Some people want to try to. I saw Colin Cowherd did a top 10 quarterback thing today, and he had Jalen Hurts at 6. He had Trevor Lawrence above him. He had Justin Herbert above him. Which are guys who I think do light it up in the traditional sense of throwing the football for sure. But my thing is, like, when it comes down to winning those games, putting your team in position. The kid lost one game this year outside of this Super Bowl. I mean, and to me, he just he defines what a quarterback should look like, not only on the field but off the field. When he's speaking to the press, the way that he reacted to the loss, all of those characteristics that, like you said, he is under a bit of a weird microscope that he kind of shouldn't be under. Joe Burrow's not under that kind of microscope.
No, not at all. He has been under that microscope since day one. And I obviously, I joke with you guys all the time about, things that the Beard has said that come true, right? And I say it in a joking manner because I want people to know that I'm not a douchebag and I'm not, I told you so. But sometimes you got to tell them you told you so. And I have been telling people since the day the Philadelphia Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts, and I watch a ton of college football, and not everybody translates the same way from the college game to the NFL game, right? And people will say, oh, well, Jalen Hurts lost his starting job to Tua. And Tua is a great quarterback too. God bless his soul. Hopefully he can stay healthy and his head injuries and things like that. But Jalen Hurts never once pouted. What did he do? He cheered his team on from the sidelines when Tua came out in that game, right? And what did he do? He went on to Oklahoma. He led Oklahoma to a national championship game. And then he gets drafted. And people want to say, why did they draft Jalen Hurts? I said they drafted Jalen Hurts because he's a guy. And then he comes in there and, he can't throw the ball. He can't read defenses. And one of the big things that Awthentik mentioned on Sunday, he said, listen, if Jalen Hurts can identify these one-on-one matchups, it's going to be a way that they succeed. And what did he do? He went out there and he read these defenses. He performed the throws that he made under pressure, on the run, placement, all of these sort of throws. To me, it's just like, I don't understand how anybody could ever doubt this guy anymore. He's been doubted since he got to college. He's been doubted since he transferred and lost his starting job. He's been doubted since he got drafted. I mean, shoot, there were Philadelphia Eagles fans talking about drafting a quarterback this draft.
Right.
And now you're in the Super Bowl. To me, it's just, and we talk about it all the time. He has this it factor. And that is something that you cannot teach. This is something that you need, that people yearn. And I think that's maybe what it is. I think some people are so upset that they don't have a Jalen Hurts as their quarterback that they have no other exit but to downplay Jalen Hurts' greatness and his performance this year and in this game. To me, it's just, and they say, oh, well, you take away his running stats. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, running matters. Look at it, and I thought it was so beautiful that you brought that up about Patrick Mahomes, because without Patrick Mahomes' legs in this game, the Kansas City Chiefs probably don't win.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you play the game over, they probably don't win. In the circumstances of Patrick Mahomes having that ankle injury, I think 9 times out of 10, the Philadelphia Eagles are probably going to win that game. But things just happen to fall their way. The one Jalen Hurts mistake, it did show up big, as 7 points on the scoreboard, especially because he fumbled it and it turned into an automatic touchdown.
Yeah.
So the Eagles did a really good job of keeping Patrick Mahomes on the sideline. So they needed that. the Chiefs needed a big punt return from Kadarius Toney and a defensive touchdown to win this game, to beat the way that Jalen Hurts was out there performing. I mean, it was incredible, man. And there were times, like I said, I felt like I'm rooting for the Chiefs like so much, right? I'm just like, yo, I'm jumping up when Kadarius Toney is scoring, but I also root for good football. So when I see like Jalen Hurts going out here throwing these dots, making these plays, I'm just like, yo, this kid is doing something amazing here on the biggest stage you could possibly be on. And what Jalen Hurts is now in his this is third season. Like, come on, man. What more could you ask for from a guy who was drafted in the second round, man?
And big shout out to all of the, AJ Brown, who we talked about, hadn't reached 30 yards receiving in a playoff game this year.
Right.
Went out there and made big plays, almost had 100 yards. Devonta Smith,
man,
who everybody said Devonta Smith couldn't separate the line. He's too small to play in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, what did he do? He came out there and made big plays, went over, had 100 yards receiving, and once again, just big plays at big times. And when they were down and they had to drive to tie the game, it was the big play to Devonta Smith on the sideline.
Blown covers, but still, nonetheless, got open. He
got open. And see, this is the thing too, is I know this is a discussion that will be had not just with Jalen Hurts, but with great teams and great quarterbacks for eternity. You're always going to say, he had the most talented offense at every position across the board all year that stayed the most part healthy. But is that really the case? Dallas Goedert's he's a good tight end, but is he the best at his possession?
Now this is what I want to know from Kevin the PRF. I don't mind the topic and the conversation being that Jalen Hurts is definitely top 10, but he's saying he's not top 5. Yeah. Tell me who your top 5 is, though. Yeah, I think that's very important, because the one person that I think you cannot put over Jalen Hurts as a top 5 quarterback is Justin Herbert. He's the one guy.
Or Trevor Lawrence.
The team that's around Herbert offensively he's got the same kind of weapons with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. He's got great play at the running back position that you could arguably say is better than what Miles Sanders is doing, because imagine Austin Eckler in an RPO-style offense with a guy like Jalen Hurts. It'd be even crazier, because Austin Eckler this year, who I label him as not even a running back, he still rushed for 900 yards. He had 124 targets in the passing game. So for me, I think that Justin Herbert is the one guy that I can't put over Jalen Hurts, not after that Super Bowl performance and not after the performance that I saw from Justin Herbert in the the wild card round against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Trevor Lawrence, I think people are looking at the upside a little bit. I can't put him over Jalen Hurts.
So my question is,
who do you put over him? For me, I would definitely go with Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and I would go Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. To me, those are the 4 that I put over him. I don't know if I'm missing nobody. I'm just going off the top. But to me, those are the 4 guys I know that I'm going to put over Jalen Hurts. So to me, Jalen Hurts is probably at 5, somewhere between 5, 6, and 7. Like, who if we're not going to do Herbert and we're not going to do Lawrence, who else is going to breach that top 5?
Yeah, and for me,
Aaron Rodgers?
I love Lamar Jackson, but he was hurt for, the big portion of the second half of the season. So for me, right now, it's difficult for me to put him in that top 5. I still got to do it.
More decorated.
Yeah.
More decorated career and winning percentage.
But Lamar's
MVP.
never made it to a Super Bowl.
He hasn't made it to a Super Bowl. But, he also plays in the AFC, so we know how that goes.
Very true. And another thing about this,
Jalen Hurts going up against Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones, Taylor Heineke, these kind of guys, Brock Purdy. You know what I'm saying? You go to the AFC, it's a whole different ballgame with the quarterback.
I saw somebody put out a list that had Brock Purdy over Jalen Hurts today, which was laughable. But I think the one thing I want to bring up about this is we saw this exact same team, right, with this talented offense at every position across the board, without Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Yeah, it wasn't good.
They lost.
It was all right, but it wasn't good. They
lost every time.
Yeah.
They didn't put up the same amount of points. There's a thing that you could have all the best talent in the world, right? And I saw somebody in the chat bring this up earlier. Remember what happened? Remember the super team that the Eagles put together before?
Yeah. Vince Young. Mm-hmm.
It failed. It failed
miserably. 4 wins, bro.
So to me, it's, I would never use an excuse of somebody having talent around them, right? Because if in order for you to make that talent work a certain way, you have to have a floor leader.
For
You
sure.
know, and I know that's a basketball
Most teams
sort of term.
won't even spend the time and bring in the talent around a guy that don't got it.
Yeah.
You know, that's just what it is. If you ain't got it, they're not going to bring you in. Now I see Gus Buzz brought up Rodgers. I brought up Rodgers too. I mean, yeah, if you want to keep Rodgers in the top 10 discussion, I'm cool with it. He's decorated, man. 2 MVPs, you know, definitely has a Super Bowl victory already. And is talent-wise one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen in the NFL. But for me, the top 10, I just got to lean it towards the younger guys a little bit. Aaron Rodgers on his way out, you know?
Yeah,
He's on
for
his way
me,
out.
I always, and that's why I always try to emphasize when I go through this, is the right now, right?
Yeah.
Because I want people to understand that my opinion and my significance of my own list consist of right now. So I don't tend to factor in, you know, previous MVPs and previous Super Bowls and
Unless you're
previous
actively
statistical
still
things.
doing it, because a guy obviously like Mahomes, young guy, you know, MVP already under his belt, you got to keep him in the mix. But I just think when you're starting to age, kind of tail off a little bit, we're starting to see that Aaron Rodgers needs talent around him at this point in his career. You know, you can't just throw 2 rookies out there and Romeo Dobbs and Christian Watson out there with him, and he's just going to be like this great quarterback like he was with Devontae Adams. He clearly needs some talent around him. Whereas some of these younger guys, man, you look at Lamar Jackson's wide receiver talent, come on. You know, Jalen Hurts, granted, has all the weapons in the world this year, but when he didn't have the weapons, he was still putting up numbers. 26 touchdowns, led that team in rushing. He had like 900 rushing yards. He was the number 1 rusher on the number 1 rushing team, leader. So when you follow that up with a season like this, where if you don't get hurt, you could arguably be an MVP. And then you go to the Super Bowl and you put on a performance like this, and literally your defense lets you down. I mean, we got to, that has to boost you up a little bit. So for Kevin the PRF, that's what I want to know. Is okay? So he says, I'd personally take Herbert and Trevor slightly above Hurts. I would not. I totally would not. I can't do that right now. Justin Herbert especially. If you go Trevor Lawrence, okay, but we're going off of a 1-year sample size of Trevor Lawrence, who looked decent this year. I don't got the numbers off the top of my head for Trevor Lawrence.
It was mostly the second half for Trevor Lawrence.
10 touchdowns, no interceptions on that stretch.
He was a top 10 quarterback statistically at the end of the season.
Which I think he's a top 10 quarterback even right now, right? I give him that. But how could I put him over Hurts? How could I do that?
To me, that's the thing, is I can't put, as much as I love Justin Herbert, and you guys know I love me some Justin Herbert, and I love me some Trevor Lawrence.
Great quarterback.
I can't put them over Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts does nothing but win. I know he just lost the Super Bowl,
right?
But what does he do? He wins, and
the dude
he wins by doing
man.
touchdowns. That's why I said
scores touchdowns.
He scores touchdowns. I said, listen, what do I want out of a top 5 quarterback? I want a guy who does nothing but win, nothing but score, and lead.
Yeah.
Those 3 things right there.
I think about the fear that the quarterback puts in the heart of the opponent. When you get down there inside that 20-yard line and you got Jalen Hurts at quarterback, there might not be another quarterback that I take within the 20-yard line in the entire league, bro.
Absolutely.
To me, he is the best quarterback in the red zone, period. Which is why he
squats like 2,000 pounds.
He squats 700 pounds. They said he was squatting 600 in high school. But the thing about Jalen Hurts, he just broke the record for most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback ever when you include the playoffs, which was held by Cam Newton. He gets down there and he has that it that the Beard was talking about getting in the end zone. That 2-point conversion, to me, it reminded me of Saquon Barkley opening week against Tennessee Titans. I am not going to get stopped. Yeah. I don't care who y'all line up. They're not stopping me. Those guys like Justin Herbert, they get in the red zone. There's times where you see them freeze up. Now, I won't even say like Justin Herbert choked like some people were saying on Twitter in the playoff game.
Never.
But you look at the second half, they did not sustain one drive. They did not sustain one drive to put the Jacksonville Jaguars away. Trevor Lawrence with that performance, 4 touchdowns in the second half after throwing, I think it was 4 interceptions in the first half. That's amazing. But at the end of the day, he still threw 4 interceptions in the first half. Neither one of those guys put fear in my heart as an opponent like the way that Jalen Hurts does. And maybe I'm a little biased because the way he just beat our ass 2 times this season by like 30 points each time. Maybe I'm a little bit biased. But I'm just using my eyes out there, and I'm looking at the numbers. Most passes that are over 20 yards, efficient over 20 yards. Most touchdowns this year over 20 yards, Jalen Hurts. People don't expect these statistics from a guy that they're calling a running back. The way that he can take a defense and put you off balance with his running and with his passing, to me, I almost want to put him above some of those other guys, but I need a little bit more evidence before I put him over a guy like Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and even Lamar Jackson, who I think Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts are like, they're right there. But I will just say that Lamar Jackson is more dynamic, but Jalen Hurts might be a little bit more effective.
I think, I mean, that might be the absolute word for word best way of putting that comparison between those two guys. I think that's probably the best way I've heard that been said. To me, it's just, it goes down to, I just want to make sure that we are understanding what it's difficult, because you watch Patrick Mahomes, and what we get in Patrick Mahomes is special. Tom Brady and what Tom Brady did is absolutely amazing, but it was the way Patrick Mahomes does it is different. And I think, when we watch Patrick Mahomes, we're watching greatness in a different way, which I think is amazing. But it's also sucks to be like a Jalen Hurts, because you watch Patrick Mahomes and then you see what Jalen Hurts does. What Jalen Hurts did this year, you'll be hard pressed to find anybody that's done that ever. I mean, I guess Cam Newton might, but I still think that Jalen Hurts' passing numbers were better than Cam Newton's maybe in that run that Cam Newton had. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Cam Newton's run was amazing too, and he did it. The thing about Cam Newton is he did it with no talent at the wide receiver position. Devin Funchess, Ted Ginn Jr.
Steve Smith, right? Steve Smith wasn't there. We've been over this. Yeah, Greg Olsen was the
Olsen was the only
shout out to Greg
there.
Olsen. I love Greg Olsen in the booth, by the way. I think he does a fantastic job.
He did a good job though. The one thing though with the holding call, I think he was a little bit OD.
He was, but half of me kind of likes that, because I'm like, hey, he's not holding it back. He's letting them know exactly how he feels. I see some people asking about Jalen Hurts' contract, and I thought what Jalen Hurts said, I believe it was today, about the contract extension, it was just another extension of Jalen Hurts' maturity and team first mentality. When he talked about, was asked about his contract and extension, he put the team first, and he said, there'll be a time when we talk about this, that time is not right now. Does Jalen Hurts deserve more than $230 million guaranteed in his contract extension? Does he deserve to get more guaranteed money than Deshaun Watson? This is the thing now that I think quarterbacks are what a quarterback deserves and what a quarterback is going to get is going to be a blurred line moving forward, just because
I think
of
people
the way.
will look at the Deshaun Watson thing as not like a mistake, but like don't give out that kind of guaranteed money.
Yeah, but I do think that some of that is warranted in the quarterback position. I think the quarterbacks should deserve to give. If you're going to give the quarterbacks the blame in the end, no matter what, I think you're going to have
230 guaranteed, man. Something go crazy in 2 years. Look at Kyler Murray's contract right now. I forget it was 100-something guaranteed, and it's like if he don't pan out, that's going to look crazy.
It is. But
which I think he will pan out. But I'll tell you what, I don't know about the 230 guaranteed. I will just say that Jalen Hurts will probably – a lot of these guys are going to get signed around the same time. Burrow, Hurts, all these guys.
Hurts,
they're all
Herbert,
probably going to reset
and
the
Tua.
market.
All the same rookie class. I have a box from there of cards sealed that I said I'm never going to open this box because I think this class is going to be special.
Your Tua ain't going to make that bag, though.
Hey, you watch it. Listen, bookmark it right now.
Bookmark it right now. Last
next
episode.
Year, as long as he is healthy, Tua next year is going to shock a lot of people. Tua is going to be a top 5 statistical quarterback next year if he plays every single game.
He got the weapons to do so. So
he does have the weapons to do so.
It wouldn't surprise me. Best wide receiver 10.
But I do think Jalen Hurts ends up becoming the highest paid quarterback. But eventually, Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow will eclipse him because I think Jalen Hurts will probably get his deal done first. So whichever one of them gets their deal done first will be behind, but I do think both of them are going to end up being the top paid quarterbacks in the national.
230 is crazy. I just think 230 guaranteed is ridiculous.
I don't think he deserves more. I like Awthentik said, I think that it'd be financially irresponsible to your team to do so. But I do think.
But I think he'll be in that, especially with the salary cap going up. He'll be in that 50 mil range a year for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting time moving forward with these quarterback contracts for sure.
Now, I just want to wheel off a couple of records and some statistics from Jalen Hurts in this game, and then we can get off into these over-unders, because I think we've gone over this in great lengths. I like that, 1 hour and 40 minutes pretty much breaking down one game, and it didn't feel stagnant or anything like that. So that was a great job by you, man. I definitely commend you on that. But Jalen Hurts, man, you know, the stat line, 27 to 38, 304 yards, 1 touchdown through the air, 3 touchdowns on the ground, 70 yards, a 79.7 QBR. 35 points is the most by a Super Bowl loser ever, which is ridiculous right there. He was 13 of 20 on 3rd and 4th down, all through the air. I thought that was an interesting statistic right there. I love how he set the pace on the opening drive, did a really great job on that. Hurts had the most rushing yards ever by a quarterback in a Super Bowl, which was Steve McNair. Rest in peace to Steve McNair. He had 64 yards on the ground in a Super Bowl. Tied the most touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, not just from quarterback position, ever, which was a Terrell Davis record. He tied that. First player in NFL history with 300 passing yards, 70 rushing yards, and 3 touchdown runs in a game, and 6 of 9 on 3rd down. You know, I just thought Jalen Hurts, man, and this was another thing that stood out to me throughout the year, you know, and I just found this stat, and it surprised me when I read this stat, but I thought Jalen Hurts did a really good job throwing the ball on the run in this game. You know, that was one thing you saw, and I didn't look at Jalen Hurts as like a bad passer on the run when I saw what he did throughout the year, but the statistics say that on the run, Jalen Hurts was the worst quarterback in the NFL this year in the regular season. He completed just 22% of his passes when scrambling this season. He was 26th of all 26 qualified quarterbacks. The league average is a 39% completion percentage while scrambling, and he was down there 22. So to see him doing these things, you know, converting on 3rd down through the air and scrambling and making these plays, especially on that broken one where the protection up front is just completely destroyed, and just terrible job up front by the Eagles and their coaching staff. To see Jalen Hurts doing some of these things, man, I commend the dude again, man. Big props to that guy. I'm not looking forward to playing him, you know, 2 times a year for the rest of his career, most likely, because I think the Eagles will be extremely foolish to try to let that guy go. But we'll see what happens with him with the contract, man. Great quarterback play across the board in this game. We got to see this more. I did see somebody say earlier in the chat where you thought this game ranked as, you know, best Super Bowls and whatnot. And I'll say, just because it didn't come down to the wire, it's not like in the top 5 for me, I'll say.
Yeah. No.
You know, the 3 Giants Super Bowls that I got to see were all crazy. Wide right, ridiculous. Eli Manning helmet catch, ridiculous. The second one with the Patriots, ridiculous. The Cardinals, Pittsburgh Steelers was a really good one as well that I can remember on the final drive where Roethlisberger ends up hitting Santonio Holmes in the end zone. The play before that with Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, just there have been some incredible Super Bowls for sure.
And the one that, you know, you just mentioned his name, and I think that is, to me, I was still kind of, I wasn't young, but we were still young, you know, in general terms. Was Steve McNair in that Super Bowl? To me, that was one of the first like Super Bowl moments I remember.
Oh yeah, versus the Rams. Great one.
Just being like
Kevin Dyson
on the edge of my seat sort of situation. And you know, there's a play that happens before that play, the play that kind of gets them down there. Where Steve McNair was literally like looked like he was about ready to take a knee. He was being dragged down, and he got out of it to make that throw down the field, and they called the timeout. There's just that Super Bowl was one of the
Seattle
first ones
Seahawks
I really remember.
Patriots one where Marshawn Lynch,
one too. Yeah.
You know, and then they end up throwing the interception on the goal line. That was a really
which
good
was
one
also
too.
in Arizona where this game was, as was the helmet catch was also in Arizona. So Arizona,
I'd go top 15 maybe. I'd have to go and look at all the other ones. There's
it's
definitely
tough.
some escaping
It's not
from
easy.
The 80s.
It's not easy to sit there and be like, as you know, just to be able to put a number on it, because there's so many Super Bowls and there's ones that you end up forgetting, you know, stuff like that.
The Eagles Patriots Super Bowl was good too in 2017. That was a good one with the Philly special. That was a back and forth game as well. So Philly's been in 2 good ones. Got 1 win, got 1 loss. So we'll see if they can make it back. But big respect to all the Philadelphia Eagles fans who pulled up and rocked with us this year, man. You know, being that we're predominantly New York Giants and Washington Commanders podcast, you know, big respect to y'all and y'all team. I'm I'm a dude with a lot of like dignity, man, and I give props when props are due, man. The Philadelphia Eagles, y'all did a great job this year. It's unfortunate to come away without a Super Bowl for y'all this year because you guys made the moves, and it's kind of the opposite story of the Kansas City Chiefs, who really just stuck to their guns. You know, lost a lot of players, lost Clyde Edwards-Helaire for most of the year, Tyreek Hill, a few others. They didn't go out there and make no reaches in free agency or make no trades or anything crazy like that. Well, they did make the trade for Kadarius Toney, and that's about it. You know, and ends up winning a Super Bowl. So big shout out to the Chiefs fans out there who rock with us, Bluegrass Picker and a few others, and a big shout out to all the Eagles fans who rocked with us. You ready to get into these?
Yes,
these
I have to give one more shout out though. Shout out to Melvin Gordon.
Got him a ring.
Got him a Super Bowl, man.
He ain't do nothing though. So
nothing. But you know what? Shout out to that guy.
This is first because he was a Charger, Bronco, and now a Chief.
Yeah. So shout out to Melvin Gordon, man. You know he had a tough run at it with the injuries. To me, I always like to see these running backs who, you know, you see a lot of these running backs give up so much and
Melvin Gordon need to watch the program. That's what he need to do. And walk around with a football wherever he go. That's what he need to do. Because it wasn't
big shout out.
It was the fumbles.
Big shout out. Well, before it was, big shout out to Vintage Sport Flips, who sponsored one of our giveaways this season. He says that he was at the game in Glendale. It was a depressing flight home with Hurts. We should be back again at some point, hopefully. So big shout out to Vintage Sport Flips.
Yeah, Super Bowl losses are tough, man. They're tough. Yeah,
especially being there at the game.
Yeah, that's tough. And you don't know when you're going to get back. That's the thing. It's very tough to get there. So gotta count your blessings. But big shout out to Vintage Sports Flips one time. Definitely held us down on some memorabilia this year. Some super dope memorabilia this year.
Kevin, the PRF, is saying that I'm messing with his psyche with my Notre Dame stuff, talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. Is starting to morph in from Irish to Eagle.
That's facts right there.
All right, over unders. It's time to reveal how we did during the Super Bowl.
I can tell by the way you set this one up. I just hope I kept it within like 3, maybe 4 maximum, because that's going to do it in for me.
Well, we had 8 on this game, so.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see where you landed.
All right, let's see what we got here. We'll just go right down the line. We'll go right down the line. No mismatch and stuff. We'll just go one team, then we'll go with the other team. Let me see if I got them all. Looks like, God, StreamYard, you just do crazy stuff. So I'll save. There'll be one Eagles, one for the end. Let's start with Patrick Mahomes. We already know this one, under 200 or over 292.
Over 292. I was going with the under, and damned if Awthentic didn't convince me to take the over. Yes, so we both took the over in this one. He obviously did come up pretty short. He ended up with 180. What was that? 180. 182. 182, yeah. So he did come up short on this one right here. All right, up next, Isaac Pacheco. This was one we did I do it again?
Did you do what again?
I did. I called him Isaac again.
Oh, you did.
Isaiah.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Isaiah. Oh, shout out to Isaac Pacheco. Minor league baseball player for the Detroit Tigers. Isaiah Pacheco, over or under 46.5 rushing yards. We both dropped the ball on this one.
We went with the under.
We both went with the under in this game, and he went over. He had 76 yards on the ground on 15 carries and 1 touchdown. Fantastic performance.
Those are 2 wins for me right there. Even though we both picked the under, they're wins for me, because if you could have got any one of those, wow, I'd be in trouble here.
Yeah. So
I think you're going to get me on this next one.
Yeah, what's the next one? Mr. Travis Kelce, over under 7.5 receptions. He did come up short on this one. He had 6 catches
on
for
6
81
targets.
yards.
Stole my man the ball 2 more times. Come on, man.
So he, I took the under, you took the over. So, yeah, that's a big no for you and yes for me.
One for the Beard.
Up next, we're going into the Philadelphia over-unders. Jalen Hurts, over under 291 yards from scrimmage. He was way over. He was like, 371 total, I believe, something along those. 374. 374 yards from scrimmage. I took the over, and Awthentic took the under.
Two to none right now. All right.
Up next is Miles Sanders did not get
He did not get
68.5 scrimmage yards. We both took the under on this one. I think Miles Sanders was at like 19 total scrimmage yards.
Yeah,
in
Miles
this game,
Sanders
so.
was non-existent in this game.
Yeah, and he is a free agent at the end of this year, so I'd imagine he's probably not going to be coming back to
Yeah, I think they'll let him go.
Philadelphia Eagles in this instance. And then last but certainly not least, our guy, Devonta Smith, over under 65.5 yards receiving. The Beard took the over like a smart man.
Smart man.
I even tried to give the layup to you on this one. I said you were talking about AJ Brown and we're talking about Jalen Hurts passing yards, and I was like, are you sure?
I didn't expect the Eagles offense to put up this much like yardage. I thought that they would lose the game, but I didn't think they were going to put up this much yardage, so it just backfired on me.
Yeah, so Devonta Smith ended up 100 yards receiving. I took the over, and Awthentik took the under. Now, Awthentik has a chance here to kind of gain some momentum on the special props. The first one being the coin toss, which was tails.
Tails, yeah.
So Awthentik did take that one. I said heads, so that's a loss for the Beard. And last but certainly not least, first touchdown scorer in the game. You remember who you took?
I think I took Kelsey.
You did say Kelsey. And you remember who I took?
You took
Hurts.
You took Hurts. Good one,
I took
man.
Hurts.
Good one. Good
So
one.
one for the Beard, another loss for Awthentik. That brings our total for this game. The Beard.
Wait. There was one special question though.
Oh, I didn't include that one.
You wouldn't include that one. Hold up. Skirt.
I didn't know this one was gonna be included. It
Yeah,
definitely
you remember how
wasn't,
confident I was too, right?
it
There was no
definitely
dark
wasn't
horse.
James Bradbury.
Definitely wasn't the dark horse James Bradbury. Yeah,
Okay,
You remember who I picked for this one?
You picked Patrick Mahomes.
I sure did.
I picked Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
All right. So the Beard finished the over-under special question segment at 5-4. Awthentik finished the over-under special question segment at 3-9.
3 and 9. Them numbers don't even add up. How did you come to a 4 and 5 and 3, 5 and 4 and 3 and 9? That doesn't make sense.
Okay, excuse me. I made a mistake here. Okay.
I was 4 or 5. You was 5 or 4. Is what I think it was.
I was 5 of 9.
5 of 9, and I was 4 of 9.
And you were 3 of 9.
I don't think that's right.
Coin
Let's
toss.
go back. Let's go over it. Yeah, coin toss, MVP.
That's your 2.
What about under? What's his name? Miles Sanders under.
Yeah, that's it.
Mahomes, Pachenko. Okay. All right. Kelsey under. Yup. And then you got, which ones did you get? You got Hurts.
I got Hurts,
Miles.
touchdown, Miles. I got Devonta.
Yup.
I got Kelsey under.
Kelsey under.
Yeah.
And first touchdown.
Yeah.
Okay. Got you. So two more to me. I can deal with that. I think I got a couple episodes of, a little gap where when we total this all up, I know you don't got no totals right now. I think I still got you.
Yes, the Beard looking like the Fighting Irish logo came to real life. Here you go.
No lie. No lie.
Oh man, but yeah, it was that was a close one, man. I hit on some parlays. That was pretty awesome.
That MVP might have saved me, dog.
It did save you.
It really might have saved me for real. I know you didn't add them up, but it might have saved me because I know I had with the last 2 weeks I was 3 up on you. And you lost. Yeah, you lost, bro. You lost.
We'll put it together and we'll tweet it.
Because you said you was 5 and 9?
I got all the book, man. It's all.
You was 5 and 9 today though, right?
5 of 9, yeah.
Yeah, and I was 3 of 9 today. So that give you 2 more on me this week. Yeah, I'm good. You only gotta tally that thing up, bro. I'm good. You got the playoff bracket though. You definitely got that right. Even though that Super Bowl should be worth like 5 wins. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Give me a little catch up. But I think you did get that.
Man.
You was pretty spot on all the way up to your Bengals got knocked out.
Yeah, well. This offseason is going to be interesting, man.
It is, man. Good stuff, man. I want to commend you for this year. It was a solid year, season 4 of Awthentik and The Beard. This is going to be the last episode of season 4. I say we're going to take about a good 2 to 3 week break. Once free agency comes around and the franchise tag deadline comes around, which I believe the franchise tag deadline is March 8th and the franchise tag is the 14th. It's either that or vice versa. We'll definitely be back, I say the latest, the first week of March.
Yeah,
but big salute to you, man. Big salute to the gang. Salute to the fam. We appreciate all of y'all rocking with us this entire year. I want to send a special shout out to my homie Matt Emery's family. Yeah. We lost a homie from our high school who was a part of the community here. Randomly passed away this past weekend. So rest in peace to him. Our condolences to him. And I believe that was Zach that said his grandmother passed away as well. Condolences to your family as well, man. Anybody that's going through it that's a part of this AATB family, y'all know nobody here's a fan. We all fam. So big shout out to all of y'all. Stay tuned, man. We going to keep this content popping. We're going to raise the damn bar this offseason.
Season 5.
For sure for season 5. It's been good. It's been good. I've had a great time rocking with y'all throughout this entire year. Learned a lot from y'all. I learned a lot from just putting in the work for this podcast, man. Just it's been good. And that 40-yard dash is gonna be extremely fire. I cannot wait for that. If it happens, we'll see, man.
It'll happen.
You've been saying that. I see that.
I can't let my fans down, man.
We'll see. We'll see, man. You gonna let them down because you ain't gonna run no 4.5, whatever the hell you said it was. What is the number again? 4.58, 4.56?
No, the original number was a 4.64.
Okay. It was, because I know it got a ring to it. It definitely got 4.64 ring to it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. But big shout out to y'all, man. Any last words before we get up out of here, man, and put a bow tie on Valentine's Day on this season 4 finale one time, man?
No, I mean, obviously, there's a long list of shout outs. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to my wife, who, lets me, do this all these times during the week. There's a lot of time that gets invested into what we do. Time that is away from my wife, and she not only lets me do it, she is a huge supporter of what I do, and to have somebody in your corner who supports your creative outlets like what we do here, it means a lot to me. So
I like how you said lets me do it. That's what I'm talking about, Josie. Get that thing cracking, Josie. Get that thing cracking.
I have to give a big shout out to my wife. Not only lets me talk football all season long, multiple days a week, she gets into it. She's a fan and she loves it. And to have support when you're a creative mind who doesn't work a 9 to 5, it means a lot to me. So I just want to give a big shout out to my lovely wife, who's it's Valentine's Day and I'm here talking football with my brother Awthentik and everybody here in the family. So big shout out to my wife, but big shout out to all the day ones and all the day 2s and the day 3s and the people that might have just found us this Sunday. This is a community. This is a family. We have built so much relationships off of us talking about football. And the support, it goes so long. It's, from the 99-cent super stickers to the $200 super chats to the retweets to the people that just come and drop biceps in the chat. Like, it is so much love and so much, gratitude that goes into this. This is a grind. Like, I was talking to somebody today and they were like, once you guys are, in a couple of weeks after your break, we got to get you guys on to come chat. And I'm just like, absolutely. We'll definitely try our best to make it happen. But like, I just told him, I said, it's kind of crazy because this has been like, 4 or 5 months of 4 times a week. And, we got a little off season before the off season. And it goes to show you how much I actually love doing this. And I think that's the most important thing, to be able to do what I love and to be able to do it with, somebody who I love as my brother and people who I love in the chat. It means so much to me. So thank you guys for all the love and support. It does go a long way here at Awthentik and The Beard.
Could not have said it better myself, man. Y'all know what it is, man. It's going to put a wrap on season 5 of Awthentik and The Beard. Y'all keep racing.
We got to start 5.
Season 4. We're going to start 5. But y'all know how we end every podcast, man. Keep living those dreams. Keep raising that bar, because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound. Rest in peace to the podcast GOAT, Combat Jack. Y'all be good, man. We're going to take a little break for a couple of weeks. If you want to keep the discussion going, follow us on Twitter. Y'all know what it is, @Awthentik, @TimWalkOnWater2. And just for now, until we get to season 5, peace, y'all.
Peace.
Spike don't care.